Chapter 202. Soon, the carriage arrived at the entrance of the Beast Mountain Range. The coachman was just an ordinary person and did not dare to enter the Beast Mountain Range. Jiyu understood and got off the carriage at the entrance of the Beast Mountain Range. Zhuang Weiran did not want ordinary people to see her real face, so she put on a black robe before getting off the carriage. Ding! Master has taken a step. Mystic level superior mystical skill, 1,000 illusions myriad flash, gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step. Mystic level superior mystical skill, 1,000 illusions myriad flash, gained experience. 1 by 999 times. At this time, Jiyu and Zhuang Weiran had already entered the Beast Mountain Range. Coming to this familiar place again, Jiyu was very calm. But Zhuang Weiran was like a little girl who had never seen the world, looking around curiously. But after walking for a while, Jiyu felt that it was too slow. Hold on tight. Suddenly, Jiyu said to Zhuang Weiran. Although Zhuang Weiran did not know what Jiyu's intention was, she still grabbed Jiyu's wrist obediently. In the next moment, she felt the scenery around her changing rapidly. Ding! Master has used 1,000 illusions myriad flash. 1,000 illusions myriad flash gained experience. 400 by 999 times. Ding! Master has used fist-shattering mountains and rivers. 1,000 illusions myriad flash gained experience. 400 by 999 times. Along the way, the two of them were attacked by many beasts, but they were all easily dealt with by Jiyu. Finally, the two of them arrived at the central region of the Beast Mountain Range. Ding! Master has been eroded by the demonic aura. Bronze level spiritual force gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has been eroded by the demonic aura. Bronze level spiritual force gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Once they entered the central region, Jiyu reminded Zhuang Weiran, "We are now in the central region. Just follow behind me obediently and don't cause trouble." "Okay," Zhuang Weiran said perfunctorily. Jiyu couldn't help but feel a little helpless, but she couldn't care less. She immediately went in search of the Green Spider Empress's habitat. About half an hour later, the two arrived at a dense forest in the middle of the Demon Beast Mountain Range. Jiyu's expression immediately turned vigilant. This dense forest was located in the depths of the central region of the Demonic Beast Mountain Range. The Green Spider Empress was not the only one that lived here. There were also all kinds of higher-ranked, second-ranked demonic beasts. It was as if a giant red centipede had appeared in front of them. Jiyu recognized that this demonic beast was called the Red Poisonous Centipede. It was a vicious demonic beast that was highly poisonous. An adult red poisonous centipede could reach a length of more than 10 meters, and its level would be at least second grade 5th tier. Judging from the size of this centipede, it should be a red poisonous centipede that had just reached adulthood. In that case, he wouldn't be a match for Jiyu at all. After all, he was basically invincible among those of the same level. Strike first and gain the upper hand. Jiyu did not waste any time and immediately took action. Ding! Master has used 1,000 illusions myriad flash. 1,000 illusions myriad flash obtained experience. 400 by 999 times. Ding! Master has used Mountain Shattering Fist. Mountain Shattering Fist obtained experience. 400 by 999 times. Demonic beasts had poor reflexes, not to mention that Jiyu's strength and speed far surpassed this red poisonous centipede. With one punch, the red poisonous centipede was instantly killed without any resistance. The red poisonous centipede's large head was directly blown apart by Jiyu's punch, and blood and flesh splattered everywhere. The crimson venomous centipedes struggled for a few moments before dying completely. Zhuang Weiran stared at Jiyu, who was handling the red poisonous centipede's corpse, and was increasingly curious about Jiyu's true strength. Jiyu collected all the valuable materials from the red poisonous centipede's corpse and put them into her storage ring. Then, she continued to bring Zhuang Weiran deeper into the forest. Chapter 203. Ding! Master has used 1,000 illusions myriad flash. 1,000 illusions myriad flash gained experience. 400 by 999 times. Ding. Master has used fist-shattering mountains and rivers. Fist-shattering mountains and rivers gained experience. 400 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Profound rank, upper, profound skill, 1,000 illusions, myriad flash, has successfully broken through to the perfection stage. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Profound rank, upper, profound skill, fist-shattering mountains and rivers, has successfully broken through to the initial success stage. Following that, they encountered many second-rank demonic beasts. Jiyu continued to punch them one by one. His movement and fist techniques had improved as well. Gradually, the number of demonic beasts attacking Jiyu and Zhuang Weiren decreased. Obviously, there was a strong second-rank monster beast in this area, which deterred other monster beasts from approaching this area. This was because demonic beasts had a strong sense of territory. Weak demonic beasts did not dare to enter the territory of strong demonic beasts. Once they did, the consequences will be dire. Jiyu guessed that this demonic beast should be the Green Spider Empress. Right at this moment, several small green spiders appeared not far from them. They were not small at all. They were about the size of Jiyu's fist. But compared to the Green Spider Empress, which was at least 2 to 3 meters long, these were indeed small spiders. Ding. Master has used Fallen Leaves Sword Technique. Fallen Leaves Sword Technique gained experience. 100 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Yellow rank, upper profound skill, Fallen Leaves Sword Technique has successfully broken through to the initial success stage. Unsheathing his sword, Jiyu only used the yellow rank, upper profound skill, Fallen Leaves Sword Technique. These small spiders, which were not even second rank, were not worthy of him using the lone peak of 9 swords. He casually cut the small green spiders in half. A moment later, countless small spiders swarmed out of the dense vegetation. The Green Spider Empress had sensed that there were intruders and summoned the small spiders to attack the intruders, which were Jiyu and Zhuang Weiren. Jiyu's expression remained calm throughout. These tens of thousands of small spiders would pose a great threat to ordinary defensive profound realm martial practitioners, but to him, they were nothing. Ding. Master used Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist gained experience. 400 * 999x. Jiyu punched the ground. A loud boom was heard. The ground instantly cracked open and spread hundreds of meters ahead at an extremely fast speed. In less than 3 seconds, the countless small spiders disappeared. Only the gigantic Green Spider Empress was left. Green blood continuously flowed out of her body, and it was obvious that her injuries were not light. Without another word, Jiyu executed the lone peak of 9 swords and killed the Green Spider Queen in one strike. The difficulty of killing the Green Spider Empress was higher than the thousands of small spiders. The Green Spider Empress herself was only at second rank 8 tier. Her strength was probably not as good as Zhao Beishan's. Naturally, he would be instantly killed by Jiyu's sword. Next, he prepared to cut out the poison sac from the Green Spider Empress's body, because the target of the mission was the poison sac of the Green Spider Empress. But the Green Spider Empress was full of poison, especially after death. The poison would become even more lethal. Jiyu naturally would not be careless. First, he used the defensive mystical skill, Thick Earth Armor. Then, he began to cut out the poison sac. Ding! Master used Thick Earth Armor. Yellow rank inferior profound skill, Thick Earth Armor gained experience. 20 * 999x. Ding! Master's body is poisoned. Yellow rank inferior profound skill, Thick Earth Armor gained experience. 1 * 999x. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Yellow rank inferior profound skill, Thick Earth Armor has successfully broken through to the Reach Perfection realm. Ding! Detected that yellow rank inferior profound skill, Thick Earth Armor has reached the maximum realm. Automatically upgraded to yellow rank intermediate profound skill, Rock Earth Armor. He carefully removed the poison sac from the Green Spider Empress's body. Even with the protection of the Thick Earth Armor, Jiyu's body was still corroded by the Green Spider Empress's poison. But the effect was not big, so there was no need to care. Instead, it brought benefits to GU. That was, the defensive mystical skill had been upgraded to yellow rank intermediate profound skill rock earth armor. Chapter 204. After keeping the poison sac in his storage ring, GU said to Zhuang Weiran, "Now that it's over, you should follow me back to King City." Zhuang Weiran knew that she couldn't escape from GU, so she didn't resist. Ding! Master used Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash. Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash experience gained. 400 by 999 times. Ding! Master used Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash. Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash experience gained. 400 by 999 times. Just like that, GU grabbed Zhuang Weiran and left the Beast Mountain range. He prepared to take the spirit ship back to King City from Bright Moon Ancient City. Although he passed by the Nangong family on the way, he had no intention of going in. He didn't want to meet that weird woman, Nangong Maching, again. They boarded the spirit ship and headed back to King City. On the spirit ship, GU wasn't worried that Zhuang Weiran would do anything, so he just focused on cultivating. Ding! Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation EXP gained. 20 by 999 times. Ding! Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation EXP gained. 20 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to mid-stage of defensive profound realm. GU cultivated up to the mid-9th level of the defensive profound realm in a high-class room filled with dense Xianqi. Time passed quickly, and the spirit ship arrived at King City unknowingly. In order to be safe, GU didn't bring Zhuang Weiran directly to King City. Instead, he brought her back to Qianyuan Martial House to ensure that the mission would be completed smoothly. "Where are you bringing me?" Zhuang Weiran realized that they weren't heading towards King City and asked. Just as she finished asking, her expression suddenly became a little strange. "Don't tell me you're plotting something against me. What are you thinking about?" GU was speechless. "I'm just bringing you to Qianyuan Martial House." Qianyuan Martial House? That sounds interesting. Zhuang Weiran nodded. If it was the Qianyuan Martial House, she wouldn't mind. After all, before she ran away this time, she had been either studying in the palace or practicing martial arts in the Kanglan Empire Academy. She was quite interested in the Qianyuan Martial House, which was also one of the 3 great martial cultivation holy lands. After arriving at the Qianyuan Martial House, GU went straight to the Hall of Affairs. Along the way, he attracted the attention of many martial house students. "Huh, isn't that the Inner Mansion's chief disciple, GU? Why is he back so soon? I heard that he accepted 3 top-level missions at the same time a few days ago. Although I don't know what kind of top-level missions they are, it's impossible for him to come back so quickly, right? I think it's very likely that he gave up halfway." At most, he only completed 1 top-level mission before giving up. In contrast, I'm more curious about the black-robed man who came back with him. I couldn't see his face at all. Let's go and take a look. By the time GU arrived at the Hall of Affairs, there were already many martial house students following behind her. The middle-aged man from last time was still standing at the front desk. When he saw GU walk in, he was immediately shocked. It had only been a few days, and this young man had already completed all the missions and returned? No, this was definitely impossible. He had already stayed in the Qianyuan Martial House for 10 whole years. In his memory, a top-level mission would take at least half a month to complete. At most, it would take a few months. Moreover, those were all situations where several core students were in a team together. This young man in front of him had completed 3 top-level missions at the same time. From the time he accepted the missions until now, it had only been 10 days. No matter how he thought about it, it was impossible. Chapter 205. The middle-aged man didn't know what kind of missions GU accepted because he wasn't qualified to know. However, no matter what kind of missions they were extremely difficult. Completing 3 missions in 10 days wasn't something that a normal person could do. The middle-aged man didn't believe it until Ji-Yu's voice sounded. "I'm here to submit the missions." The middle-aged man finally regained his senses. However, he was stunned for a moment before he asked, "Young master, have you completed all the missions?" The middle-aged man wasn't the only one who wanted to know. All the surrounding students wanted to know as well. "Yes." Ji nodded slightly. This simple word caused all the surrounding Marshall House students to be greatly shocked. Everyone's heart couldn't help but skip a beat. This was too shocking. Many of them had been cultivating in the Qianyuan Marshall House for more than 1 or 2 years. They didn't even dare to touch the high-level missions. Not to mention top-level missions. That was something that they would never dare to come into contact with. However, this new student who just joined the Marshall House not long ago not only defeated Qi Ling to become the top disciple of the inner house, but he also completed 3 high-level missions in less than 10 days. Comparing oneself to others would only make one angry. At this moment, they all felt that they had wasted their lives. The middle-aged man was also extremely shocked. He didn't dare to believe that this young man actually did it. This young man was simply a monster. No wonder he heard that Qi Ling was defeated by this young man and didn't even have the chance to fight back. Who the F***CK could defeat such a monster? After regaining his composure, the middle-aged man quickly said to Ji-Yu, "I don't have the authority to deal with this matter. Please follow me to meet the elders." Ji-Yu didn't say anything and followed the middle-aged man quietly. Zhuang Weiran also followed behind Ji-Yu silently. She didn't want to make a sound in such a place where there were so many people. Ding! Master has taken a step forward. Mystic high-class mystical skill, 1,000 illusions, myriad flash, obtained experience points. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step forward. Mystic high-class mystical skill, 1,000 illusions, myriad flash, obtained experience points. Won by 999 times. He followed the middle-aged man into a room. Inside was an old man with a white beard. Ji-Yu, the white-bearded old man, was an elder of the Hall of Affairs. Previously, this elder had contacted him and even gave him some greeting gifts. After sending Ji-Yu off, the middle-aged man took his leave, as he was not qualified to continue standing there and listen. Ji-Yu, the white-bearded old man, said in surprise, "Didn't you accept 3 top-level missions at the same time last time? Haven't you gone yet?" He didn't know that Ji-Yu had already completed her mission and returned. Subconsciously, he thought that Ji-Yu hadn't left yet. "I'm done," Ji-Yu said calmly. Without another word, he took out Zhao Beishan's head and the green spider empress poison sac from his storage ring and placed them in front of the old man. You've completed it?" The white-bearded old man exclaimed in disbelief. Looking at the 2 items that Ji-Yu took out, his eyes were filled with shock. As an elder-level figure, he knew very well which 3 top-level missions Ji-Yu had accepted. No matter which one it was, the difficulty was extremely high. He thought that Ji-Yu would need at least a month to complete them. This was only a possibility. After all, the mission to find the 6th prince was extremely difficult. Wait a minute. At this moment, the white-bearded old man suddenly realized that there was a guy in a black robe following behind Ji-Yu. Could it be that this black-robed man was the 6th prince? "Ji-Yu, this is?" The white-bearded old man pointed at the black-robed man behind Ji-Yu and asked with trembling lips. "This guy is the 6th prince. I brought him back," Ji-Yu replied. At the same time, Zhuang Weiran took off the black robe on her head. However, she had already used the mask to change her appearance, turning into a handsome young man. Ji-Yu realized that Zhuang Weiran had changed her face again. Just as she was about to say something, she suddenly realized that Zhuang Weiran's current appearance was exactly the one in the portrait. She looked at the white-bearded old man again. There was nothing wrong with his face. This time, Ji-Yu instantly understood. It turned out that Zhuang Weiran, this fellow, had always pretended to be a man to treat others. No wonder she called him the 6th prince. So this was the reason. Chapter 206. 53,000 contribution points. 3rd grade superior artifact, silver silk armor. 3rd grade inferior artifact, cold blade. And 10 3rd grade inferior pills. The white-bearded old man, gave the rewards of the 3 top grade missions to Jiyu at once. Then I'll have to trouble Elder to deal with the 6th prince. After speaking, Jiyu turned and left. He was too lazy to continue wasting time here and left the rest to the white-bearded old man. 6th prince, I'll personally send you back to the palace later. What do you think? The white-bearded old man said to Zhuang Weiran with a kind face and a respectful tone. Although the other party was a junior, he wasn't an ordinary junior. The 6th prince of the Azure Water Empire's royal family. Even a palace chief would have to show him some respect. He was only an elder of the Qianyuan martial house. He didn't dare to offend the 6th prince. I'm tired from this trip back. I want to rest in your house for 2 days. At this time, Zhuang Weiran deliberately changed his voice to a neutral one, his tone slightly dignified. The white-bearded old man seemed to be in a difficult position. I'll have to ask the martial house lord first. I'll have to trouble the 6th prince to wait here. How could he dare to make such a decision lightly? If he wasn't careful, his head might fall off. As long as the 6th prince stayed in the martial house for 1 more day, they had to make sure nothing happened to the 6th prince. This wasn't a joke. Zhuang Weiran only nodded slightly and didn't make sound. This matter was extremely important. The white-bearded old man directly used his movement technique to rush to the Violet Gold Palace. Martial House Lord, Martial House Lord. Before the person arrived, the voice had already arrived. Murong Zili, who was currently supervising Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, heard this voice. Seeing the white-bearded old man rush in, Murong Zili asked coldly, "What's the matter?" Martial House Lord, Jiyu has already completed all the missions and even brought the 6th prince back. The white-bearded old man spoke quickly. Murong Zili's beautiful eyes suddenly showed a hint of surprise. She didn't expect Jiyu to come back so soon and even complete the 3 top-level missions. Just as she was about to speak, the white-bearded old man continued. But the 6th prince said that he wants to rest in our martial house for 2 days. What should we do, martial house master? Actually, it's not that difficult. Just let Jiyu take care of the 6th prince. Murong Zili pondered for a moment and said, "This is indeed feasible." The white-bearded old man nodded, but his expression became hesitant again. But I don't know if Jiyu is willing to accept. It was impossible for these elders to watch over the 6th prince all the time. In the entire Qianyuan martial house, except for the elders and the martial house master, no one was a match for Jiyu. On the other hand, Jiyu was not restricted by the martial house at all. Without a doubt, Jiyu was the best candidate. The only thing he was worried about was that Jiyu might not accept it. After all, this kind of thing was not a joke. They must ensure the safety of the 6th prince. You don't have to worry about this. With 20,000 contribution points as the basic condition, if Jiyu doesn't meet it, then increase the contribution points until she meets it. Murong Zili said indifferently. As for the palace, this martial house master will personally explain it to them. Yes. The white-bearded old man immediately withdrew. Not long after the white-bearded old man withdrew, Jiang Yuexin couldn't help but ask, "Master, how long will it take for us to finish today?" When she heard that Jiyu had returned, she couldn't wait to see Jiyu. "Yuexin, today's cultivation hasn't finished yet, but you're already anxious to see Jiyu. Do you care about Jiyu that much?" Jiang Yuechu teased from the side. "Sister, what are you saying? Who cares about that guy?" Jiang Yuexin blushed and said stubbornly. "Then why?" Jiang Yuechu asked in a teasing tone. That is, Jiang Yuexin couldn't think of a reason and was very anxious. "It will be over soon. You guys can cultivate in peace," Murong Zili suddenly said. At the same time, she interrupted the conversation between Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, making Jiang Yuexin relieved, because she didn't want her master to know that she liked Jiyu. Little did she know that Murong Zili had already seen through it. It was just that Murong Zili had never mentioned this topic to them. Chapter 207. At the same time, on the other side. At this moment, Jiyu was on his way to the Alchemy Hall, preparing to deal with the rewards from completing the missions. Now, he suddenly had 53,000 contribution points. His first reaction was to use these contribution points to buy alchemy materials. Not only could he increase his cultivation quickly by buying materials to refine pills, but he could also trade some of the pills for more contribution points. Ding! Master has taken a step. High-level mystic skill, Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash obtained experience points. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step. High-level mystic skill, Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash obtained experience points. Won by 999 times. After arriving at the Alchemy Hall, Gu did not want to act rashly. He planned to find the Grand Elder of the Alchemy Hall, Elder Zhuang, and see if he could buy alchemy materials directly from him. If that was really the case, it would be much better than having to deal with the other students blindly on his own. Soon, Gu found Elder Zhuang. Elder Zhuang. Gu immediately greeted him. Hearing this familiar voice, Zhuang Mingyan immediately turned his head. Gu, why are you back so soon? The news of Gu accepting 3 top-level missions at the same time shook the entire Qianyuan martial house. Naturally, Zhuang Mingyan also heard about it. I've completed all the missions. Of course, I have to come back. Gu said. Zhuang Mingyan could not help but gasp in his heart. Even if he did not know much about martial arts, he knew what it meant to complete 3 top-level missions at the same time. He could not help but sigh. Gu was really a terrifying monster. Whether it was in alchemy or martial arts, she was 1 in a million. Elder Zhuang, I have some matters to discuss with you this time. Gu said directly, can I buy alchemy materials directly from you? Zhuang Mingyan was stunned for a moment before he nodded. Yes. Then I'll have to trouble Elder Zhuang to help me choose a total of 50,000 contribution points for the 3rd grade alchemy materials. Gu said. Then he took out his identity token. This was because the contribution points were recorded on the identity token. As for the exchange of contribution points, it was also done through the identity token. 50,000 contribution points. Zhuang Mingyan almost jumped in fright, but he quickly calmed down. That made sense. Gu had already completed 3 top-tier quests, so it wasn't strange for her to have so many contribution points. However, the fact that he had to buy alchemy materials worth 50,000 contribution points in one go still made him sigh. A few minutes later, Zhuang Mingyan placed a pile of ingredients for level 3 pills in front of Gu. These are worth about 70,000 contribution points. Since we are fated to meet, I'll give you 50,000 contribution points. Zhuang Mingyan said. In fact, if it was possible, he would have given these materials to Gu directly. But the truth was that he couldn't. The Qianyuan martial house had strict control over all resources. Even the elders couldn't use them at will. For example, these ingredients were worth 70,000 contribution points. Even if he gave 50,000 contribution points to Gu, Zhuang Mingyan still had to pay 20,000 contribution points for Gu. Thank you, Elder. Gu understood this principle, so she was very grateful to Elder Zhuang. It's just a small matter, Zhuang Mingyan said with a smile. Then, he seemed to have thought of something and continued. Speaking of which, how's your learning of what I taught you last time? I've mastered it completely. Gu answered honestly. Oh, you've mastered it. Zhuang Mingyan was stunned for a moment before he suddenly reacted. He asked in surprise, wait, you said you've mastered it completely? Chapter 208. Yes, what's wrong? Gu nodded. In his opinion, it had already been 10 days. What was there to be surprised about? If he said that he had learned it on the same day, wouldn't Elder Zhuang be so shocked? Monster. He really is a monster. Zhuang Mingyan was amazed. When he first started learning the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal, it took him more than a month to get the hang of it. After that, it took him another 2 to 3 months to finally learn the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal. But Gu, this monster, used less than 10 days to completely learn the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal. Such a strong contrast. How could he accept it? Gu, can you demonstrate the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal in front of this old man? Zhuang Mingyan said in a serious tone. He didn't doubt whether Gu had really learned the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal. He just wanted to see how far Ji had cultivated the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal. Ji didn't have any objections. He immediately took out the pill furnace from his storage ring. Then he took out a portion of the pill refining materials that Zhuang Mingyan brought and placed it into the pill furnace. Ding! Detected that Master has started to refine a third-grade pill. Success rate increased by 999 times. Ding! Master has used the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal. Experience gained. 1,500 by 999 times. At the same time, Ji began to use the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal. He felt the fire element between heaven and earth and resonated with it. In just a few seconds, Zhuang Mingyan could see that Ji had indeed learned the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal. Not only that, it didn't give him the feeling that he had just learned it. Instead, it seemed like he had mastered the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal. This time, Zhuang Mingyan's heart was even more shocked. He felt that using the word monster to describe Ji was an insult. It was more than enough to describe him as a monster. Not to mention whether he was a monster or not. He had never seen such a monster before. Just the fact that the spirit-connecting mystical fire seal was an inferior 4th-grade pill refining hand seal was enough to explain everything. Ding! Master has successfully concocted a middle-grade 3 medicinal pill. Experience gained in alchemy attainment. 800 by 999 times. About half an hour later, Ji successfully refined the intermediate grade 3 pill. Seeing that Ji's ability to refine pills was still far beyond that of ordinary people, Zhuang Mingyan was once again stunned. Even if he were to refine a Tier 3 intermediate grade pill himself, he would not be much faster than Ji. I'll have to trouble Elder Zhuang this time. At this moment, Ji put away the pill refinement furnace, pill refinement materials, and the pill she had just refined into her storage ring before saying, "Well then, it's about time for me to go back." "All right, you can go back." Zhuang Mingyan nodded. Looking at Ji's departing figure, his eyes lit up with a raging fire. He dared to conclude, in less than half a year, this young man would become the #1 alchemist in the Kanglan Empire. Furthermore, it was not impossible for him to stand at the pinnacle of alchemy in the mysterious heavenly mainland in the future. Zhuang Mingyan was very much looking forward to the arrival of that day. Even if he could not accept Ji as his disciple, at the very least, he had helped Ji on her path of alchemy. This was enough for him to be proud of. Ding! Master has taken a step forward. Mystic Advanced Grade Mystical Skill 1,000 Illusions Myriad Flash obtained experience points. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step forward. Mystic Advanced Grade Mystical Skill 1,000 Illusions Myriad Flash obtained experience points. 1 by 999 times. At this moment, Ji had already returned to the dormitory. He took out all the treasures and pills he had obtained from completing the mission from before from his storage ring and prepared to study them. The silver silk armor, coal blade, and 10 pieces of fusu. There were a total of 3 items. First was the silver silk armor of the superior grade. This was also the most valuable reward in Ji's eyes after the contribution points. This was a defensive treasure made from a special silver silk. Although it was very soft and smooth to the touch, its degree of toughness was unimaginable. Next, he tried to put on the silver silk treasure armor. He wanted to test how it would feel. Chapter 209. As soon as the silver silk armor entered his body, a cool and comfortable feeling washed over him. The silver silk armor could adjust its size and fit Ji's figure perfectly. Not only did he not feel uncomfortable, he even felt comfortable. This silver silk armor could greatly increase Ji's defense. The silver silk armor could withstand the full force of a Tongxian realm martial cultivator. In addition to Ji's defensive mystic skill, any martial cultivator below the Tongxian realm would not be able to hurt him. Even Tongxian realm martial cultivators like Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng would not be able to harm him. Now Ji was even more confident. As long as his martial cultivation reached the Tongxian realm, he would definitely be able to kill those 2 old dogs, Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng. After studying the silver silk armor, Ji Yu's gaze landed on the second artifact. It was the cold edge. The cold edge, as its name suggested, shone with a terrifying cold light, and its blade was extremely sharp. Compared to the green vein sword Ji Yu used before, this cold edge far surpassed the green vein sword in terms of appearance and strength. Without even thinking, he decided to use this cold edge as his temporary sword. As for the green vein sword, he did not need to throw it away. He could use it as a backup. There were still 10 inferior grade, 3 pills left. Fusu. There was no need to look at the Fusu. Ji Yu knew that it was a type of pill that could recover mystic chi and injuries. He could only say that it would be useful in the future. There was nothing else to say. After that, Ji Yu prepared to start refining the pills. The pills that he exchanged for with 50,000 contribution points. No. More accurately, they were pills that were worth 70,000 contribution points. It was enough to waste Ji Yu's time. Ding! Detected that Master has started refining a grade 3 pill. Success rate increased by 999 times. Ding! Master has used the Mystical Spirit Fire Seal. Mystical Spirit Fire Seal gained experience. 1,500 by 999 times. Ding! Master has successfully concocted an inferior grade 3 medicinal pill. Experience gained in alchemy attainment. 600 by 999 times. Ding! Master has successfully concocted an inferior grade 3 medicinal pill. Experience gained in alchemy attainment. 600 by 999 times. However, before Ji Yu could refine many pills, the voice of the Hall of Affairs elder suddenly came from outside the door. Little friend Ji Yu, please open the door. Hearing someone shouting outside the door, Ji Yu could only temporarily stop refining pills. Elder, what brings you here? Ji Yu had just finished asking when she opened the door and saw that Zhuang Weiran had followed her in. Ji Yu was silent for a moment and asked, "Isn't he going to be sent back to the palace? Why is he still here?" Ji Yu, it's like this. The white-bearded old man explained. The sixth prince said that he wanted to rest in our martial house for 2 days before returning to the royal palace. So the martial house master gave the order to assign the sixth prince to you. Arrange for me? Ji Yu was confused and asked, "What do you mean?" In other words, while the sixth prince is staying in our martial house for 2 days, we need little friend Ji Yu to protect the sixth prince and ensure his safety. The white-bearded old man explained in detail. Damn, Ji Yu almost couldn't hold back from cursing out loud. How did he become Zhuang Weiran's bodyguard for no reason? The white-bearded old man had already predicted that Ji Yu would reveal such a strange expression and immediately added, "Of course, we won't let little friend Ji Yu protect the sixth prince for free." With 20,000 contribution points as the condition, little friend Ji Yu, do you accept? 20,000? Ji Yu's eyebrows slightly raised. That's too little. It should be at least 50,000. He was particular about the rewards. Killing the Green Spider Empress and clearing out the bandits were both very easy for him. Moreover, the rewards for both missions were a few thousand contribution points and artifacts or pills. As for protecting Zhuang Weiran, it could also be considered a mission. However, this kind of mission was much more troublesome than killing the Green Spider Empress. He had to protect Zhuang Weiran for 2 full days, especially since Zhuang Weiran was a very strange person. Who knew when she would go crazy? How could 20,000 contribution points be enough to get rid of him? He would need at least 50,000 contribution points. Only this kind of reward would be worth his efforts. Chapter 210. 50,000. The white-bearded old man hesitated for a moment before saying, 50,000 then. I will transfer the 50,000 contribution points to little friend Ji Yu's token later. The palace lord had already said that he would satisfy Ji Yu. Naturally, he wouldn't dare to mess around. Seeing that the other party agreed so readily, Ji Yu couldn't help but be a little surprised. At the same time, he felt like he was on the losing end. If he had known earlier, he would have raised the contribution points to 70 to 80,000. Then it's settled, Ji said. After that, The white-bearded old man respectfully instructed Jiyu a few words before immediately going to prepare the 50,000 contribution points for Jiyu. At this moment, only Jiyu and Zhuang Weiran were left. Jiyu only glanced at Zhuang Weiran before returning to his room without a word. Without asking, he knew that this guy was definitely just looking for fun. Ding! Master has taken a step. Mystic upper level mystic skill, 1000 illusions myriad flash gained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step. Mystic upper level mystic skill, 1000 illusions myriad flash gained experience. Won by 999 times. Walking back to his room, Jiyu prepared to continue refining pills. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran, who hadn't spoken since the start, suddenly spoke. "You don't welcome me?" As she spoke, she walked in without any reservations, as if she didn't care at all about being in the same room with a man. "Yes, so you should hurry back to your palace." Jiyu casually replied. "That won't do. It wasn't easy for me to come out. I don't want to go back so quickly." Zhuang Weiran said. "Up to you." Jiyu couldn't be bothered to continue arguing. "Anyway, just stay here and don't go running around. That's enough." Anyway, he already got the reward for the mission to find the sixth prince. It didn't matter to him whether this guy returned to the palace or not. "There's nothing fun here at all. I want to go out for a walk." Zhuang Weiran said. "If you want to go out for a walk, then wait for me to finish refining these pills first. It will take about an hour." Jiyu pointed at the pill refinement materials and said, these materials were all used to refine lower tier 3 pills. Although there were still a lot of materials for tier 3 mid and high grade pills, he wanted to settle this batch of lower grade pills first. All right, Zhuang Weiran compromised. Inadvertently, she felt a sense of wonder. In the past, almost everyone around her followed her, but this Jiyu didn't seem to treat her as the sixth prince at all. She was more or less intrigued by such a unique fellow. "By the way, can you not wear that mask in private?" Ji said. "Why? Do you want to see my real face that much?" Zhuang Weiran smiled meaningfully. "You think too much." Ji rolled his eyes at Zhuang Weiran and said, "You're a woman, but you want to pretend to be a man. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Why don't you change to the way you looked when we first met?" "Forget it. I'll change back to my real face for now," Zhuang Weiran said. "But this is only limited to you. If there are outsiders, I still have to change into a man. Also, don't tell anyone that I'm a woman." "Understand." Ji nodded. He could roughly guess that Zhuang Weiran had been specially arranged to have the identity of a man. But just as Zhuang Weiran was about to tear off the mask on her face, someone came to visit. Chapter 211. Jiyu, my sister and I are here to look for you. Before they even arrived, Jiyu could already hear Jiang Yuexin's voice. When Zhuang Weiran heard that someone was coming in, she immediately stopped what she was doing. She didn't want anyone to see her face. To be exact, she didn't want anyone to see her real face. Very quickly, 2 girls in pink and red walked in. "Are these 2 people you know?" Looking at the 2 girls, Zhuang Weiran immediately asked Jiyu. "Yes." Jiyu nodded. "HM?" Hearing this, Zhuang Weiran's lips curled up slightly. She seemed to be interested. "Jiyu, who is this person?" Jiang Yuexin walked in and saw an unfamiliar young man standing beside Jiyu. She asked curiously, "Is the 6th prince of the Kanglan Empire?" Jiyu introduced. "Oh, so it's him." Hearing Jiyu's words, Jiang Yuexin immediately understood. After all, when her master was talking to the white-bearded old man, she and her sister were listening at the side. "My name is Jiang Yuechu. This is my sister Jiang Yuexin. Greetings, 6th prince." At this time, Jiang Yuechu said politely, "Yes, my name is Zhuang Weiran." Zhuang Weiran also said politely, "Don't call me 6th prince. Just call me Zhuang Weiran." "Speaking of which, why are you here this time?" Jiyu asked. He noticed that it was still early. Usually, at this time, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin would still be cultivating with Master Moro. Today, they came back so early. He guessed that something must have happened. "Nothing, we just came to see you." Jiang Yuechu smiled. "But looking at you now, you should be fine." "Of course I'm fine," Jiyu said. "It's good that you're fine. We'll head back first. After that, Jiang Yuechu left with Jiang Yuexin. Seeing that the sixth prince was present, they all thought that Ji Yu had something important to do. Therefore, they decided not to stay any longer, lest they get in the way of Ji Yu. Ji Yu was confused about why Jiang Yuechu wanted to go back so soon, but she didn't say anything. TSK, TSK, Tisk. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran suddenly laughed. What are you laughing at? Ji Yu asked in confusion. It's nothing. I'm just lamenting, Zhuang Weiran said mysteriously. Although she didn't have much contact with Ji Yu, she had long seen that this guy was a very unromantic man. This guy could also capture the hearts of those sisters just now. How could she not sigh? At the same time, this was also why she dared to be alone with this guy without any vigilance. At this moment, Ji Yu didn't care about these messy things and immediately continued to refine the pill. On the other side, Zhuang Weiran had already taken off her mask and revealed her face. She had one hand on the table, supporting her chin as she stared at Ji Yu absent-mindedly. This day's look looked like she was waiting for Ji Yu to finish refining the pill. Ding! Detected that Master has started to refine a third-grade pill. Success rate increased by 999 times. Ding! Master has concocted an inferior third-grade medicinal pill. Experience gained from alchemy attainments, 600 by 999 times. Ding! Master has concocted an inferior third-grade medicinal pill. Experience gained from alchemy attainments, 600 by 999 times. However, when Ji Yu was halfway through refining, Zhuang Weiran started to make a fuss. I can't take it anymore. I'm dying of boredom, Zhuang Weiran said unhappily. Chapter 2:12. Then you can die of boredom. Ji Yu replied casually as he continued to refine the pills. So you can talk. Zhuang Weiran was slightly surprised. She thought that Ji Yu would be like those old men in the palace. Once he started to refine pills, it was as if he was possessed and couldn't care less about anything else. Why can't I talk? Ji Yu was speechless. Since you can talk, then chat with me like last time, Zhuang Weiran said. Ji Yu wanted to reject this chatterbox, but changed his mind after thinking about it. Although this guy's nagging made him feel very annoyed, if this guy ran around the martial house, it would be even more troublesome. After all, Master Morong had given him the task of protecting Zhuang Weiran, and he had also received 50,000 contribution points as a reward. After all, he had taken advantage of others. No matter what, he had received his reward, so he had to do his job properly. Zhuang Weiran's mouth didn't stop from talking about family matters to alchemy and martial arts. Finally, Ji Yu finished refining all the third-tier pills. After refining the pills, Ji Yu stood up. You're done. Seeing this, Zhuang Weiran immediately said, Then accompany me for a walk. It's too boring to just sit here. Okay. Ji Yu said unwillingly. After that, Ji Yu brought Zhuang Weiran around the martial house. Ji Yu only returned to the dormitory to continue his work after Zhuang Weiran played to her heart's content. These 2 days were more or less spent like this. Although Ji Yu didn't have much free time, he still managed to refine most of the ingredients into pills. After 2 days, Zhuang Weiran returned to the palace under the protection of the elder from the Hall of Affairs. Ji Yu could finally do his own things in peace. At this moment, Ji Yu was refining the last few sets of ingredients. Ding! Master has refined a third-tier upper-tier pill. Alchemy attainment gained experience, 1,000 by 999 times. Ding! Master has concocted a superior grade 3 medicinal pill. Experience gained from alchemy attainment, 1,000 by 999 times. Another 4 to 6 hours passed, and Ji Yu finally finished refining all the pills. After a quick calculation, there were a total of more than 20 low-grade tier 3 pills, 9 middle-grade tier 3 pills, and 5 high-grade tier 3 pills. Ji Yu planned to keep these 20 over low-tier 3 medicinal pills and exchange them for contribution points. As for the rest of the level 3 medium and level 3 high-level pills, he could use them as usual. Just as he was about to take the pill, he suddenly remembered that he had forgotten something. I have to return the Lone Peak of 9 Swords cultivation manual to the scripture pavilion first, in case I forget about it later. Jiyu muttered to herself. He immediately left the dormitory and headed in the direction of the sutra depository. Jiyu used her body movement skill to quickly reach the scripture pavilion. She handed the manual of the Lone Peak of 9 Swords to the scripture pavilion elder and used her body movement skill to return to the dormitory. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has successfully broken through to the late stage of defensive mystic realm. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has successfully broken through to the peak of defensive mystic realm. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has successfully broken through to the peak of defensive mystic realm. Jiyu swallowed all the middle grade and high grade tier 3 pills in one go. After an unknown amount of time, he finally finished absorbing all the effects of the pills. Although his cultivation base had increased tremendously, he was still stuck at the peak of defensive mystic realm. He was half a step away from the Tongxin realm, but he could not break through no matter what. Jiyu could only give up for now. After all, it was not that easy to break through to the Tongxin realm. After that, he did not stop to rest and cultivated his Xian Qi. He had to stabilize his cultivation base first, then find a chance to break through to the Tongxin realm. Once he entered the Tongxin realm, he would be able to seek revenge on Lin Zhanshan and the others. Chapter 213. Unknowingly, 2 to 3 days had passed. Although Jiyu still couldn't break through to the Tongxin realm, he had stabilized his cultivation at the peak of the 9th level of the defensive profound realm. Since he couldn't break through, he would temporarily put aside the matter of martial arts cultivation. He took out the sword marked stone tablet from his storage ring. He was going to use the sword marked stone tablet to comprehend the sword intent and raise the level of his half-step sword intent. Ding! Master glanced at the sword marked stone tablet. 30% half-step sword intent gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master glanced at the sword marked stone tablet. 30% half-step sword intent gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Half-step sword intent has successfully broken through to 40% half-step sword intent. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Half-step sword intent has successfully broken through to 50% half-step sword intent. When the half-step sword intent reached the 5th level, Jiyu felt that the speed of improvement had obviously slowed down. Of course, he wouldn't be so inflexible and didn't continue to observe the sword marked stone tablet to improve his half-step sword intent. After more than 10 days, Jiyu came to the small forest behind the dormitory again. He planned to improve his half-step sword intent here and cultivate the Fallen Leaves sword technique. Ding! Master has used the Fallen Leaves sword technique. Fallen Leaves sword technique gained experience. 100 by 999 times. Ding! Master has activated 50% half-step sword intent. Half-step sword intent gained experience. 50 by 999 times. Ding! Fallen Leaves sword technique has reached the perfection stage. Automatically upgraded to the low profound rank profound skill breeze sword technique. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Half-step sword intent has successfully broken through to 80% half-step sword intent. An entire day passed. The Fallen Leaves sword technique had reached the peak of perfection in one go and advanced to a profound rank sword technique. Not only that, when the sword technique advanced to a profound rank sword technique, the half-step sword intent had also reached the 8th level from the 5th level. It was only 20% away from becoming a true sword intent and called the Sword Dao True Meaning. The difference between the Sword Dao True Intent and the half-step sword intent was like the difference between heaven and earth. Right now, Jiyu, who only had 80% of her half-step sword intent, was having a hard time facing Lin Zhanshan. She only had a 50% chance of winning. If he grasped the Sword Dao True Meaning, he would have a 90% chance of winning against Lin Zhanshan. In fact, killing Lin Zhanshan with a single strike was not impossible. However, Just as Ji Yu was about to raise his half-step sword intent to sword Dao true meaning in one go, he suddenly sensed that there were two people hurrying towards him. He turned around and saw that it was the two sisters, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin. "How did you know I was here?" Ji Yu immediately asked. "Why are you guys in such a hurry? Did something happen?" "Ji Yu, something bad happened," Jiang Yuexin said anxiously. "My father just sent a message saying that the Lin family and the Chun family are joining forces to pressure the Castellan mansion. They want us to give up our position. Yuexin and I went to look for you immediately, but we didn't find you in your room. Then, Master told us that you might be here. Now, we finally found you." Jiang Yuechu was in charge of explaining. "I see." Ji Yu's expression suddenly became serious. "I didn't expect that Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan, those two old dogs, would lose their patience so quickly. In the Kanglan Empire, the Castellan mansion of every ancient city was not fixed. It could be overthrown at any time. For example, in Chaoyang Ancient City, the Jiang family had been the most powerful overlord in the past 100 years. That was why they could sit firmly in the Castellan mansion. But now, the Chun family was rapidly rising and was about to catch up with the Jiang family. Together with the Lin family, the Chun and Lin families were enough to pose a great threat to the Jiang family. This time, the Qin family and the Lin family were joining forces to pressure the Jiang family. They definitely wanted to snatch the Jiang family's Castellan mansion position. Although this matter doesn't have much to do with Ji Yu, my sister and I really don't know what to do, so we can only tell you," Jiang Yuexin said. "Don't say that." Ji Yu smiled. The Castellan and Madame treated him well. Repaying a drop of water with a gushing spring was his way of doing things. Now that the Castellan mansion was in trouble, he naturally couldn't sit back and do nothing. Moreover, he might be able to take advantage of this opportunity to get rid of Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng's enemies. Now he had the confidence to do so. Chapter 214. Then tell me what you think. Ji Yu continued. "With our current strength, we won't be able to help even if we rush back tonight." The calmer Jiang Yuechu spoke first. "If there's no other way, let's give them the position of the city lord first. We'll take it back when we're strong enough." "That's true," Jiang Yuexin said in a low voice. "If we're not strong enough, we won't be able to do anything." "Not necessarily," Ji Yu said. "I have an idea." "What idea? What idea?" Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin asked at the same time. "It's simple. I just need to go back and take care of Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng," Ji Yu said with a smile. How can you do that?" Jiang Yuexin objected strongly. "You can't go back now. Did you forget how Lin Zhanshan injured you last time?" She still couldn't forget what happened last time. No matter what, she didn't want to see that scene again. "Yuexin is right," Jiang Yuechu said. "We know you're strong, but Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng are both metaphysical realm experts. You can't act rashly. You don't have to be so nervous. I'm confident that I can do what I said," Ji Yu said with a smile. However, he was glad that the two sisters were so worried about him. "Even if you're confident, you can't do it." Jiang Yuexin shook her head. At this point, she was already regretting telling Ji Yu about this. She was afraid that Ji Yu wouldn't listen to her and would run back to Chaoyang Ancient City. "I told you not to worry. I'll be fine," Ji Yu said. "At worst, I'll just stay in the city lord's mansion and wait for Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng to come." Even so, before Jiang Yuexin could finish her words, Jiang Yuechu interrupted her. "Yuexin, we should trust Ji Yu," Jiang Yuechu said. "When the time comes, we can go back with Ji Yu so that he won't run around. That way, there will be no mistakes." In her opinion, as long as she obediently stayed in the city lord's mansion, Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng would not be able to do anything to Ji Yu. After all, his father was the strongest warrior in the ancient city of the rising sun. He was slightly stronger than Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng. Moreover, the Jiang family had been able to occupy the position of city lord for nearly 100 years. Their foundation was not to be underestimated. The Chun family and the Lin family would not dare to act recklessly. "As long as you're willing," Ji Yu said, "there's no time to lose. Let's set off tomorrow." After setting a time with Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, they set off for the ancient city of the rising sun early in the morning. After Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin left, Ji Yu seized the time to improve his strength. In fact, he did not have that strength yet. However, he still promised the two sisters that he would be able to deal with Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng because he was confident that he could reach that strength today. He could reach the metaphysical realm and break through to the sword principle true meaning. These two were enough to crush those two old dogs, Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng. Then, Ji Yu immediately started to improve his sword intent and practice his sword art. Ding! Master has activated 80% of the half-step sword intent. Experience gained. 80*999x. Ding! Master has activated 80% of the half-step sword intent. Experience gained. 80*999x. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your half-step sword intent has successfully broken through to 90% of the half-step sword intent. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your half-step sword intent has successfully broken through to 10% of the sword principle true meaning. When a system notification that he had broken through to sword Dao true meaning rang out, the sword intent that erupted from Ji Yu's body soared rapidly. Invisible blades surged wildly, uncontrollably slicing the surrounding trees into pieces. Compared to before, his sword intent was many times more powerful. Looking at the mess around him, Ji Yu's eyes shone. The power of the sword principle true meaning was so shocking that it was beyond his imagination. He felt that with this sword principle true meaning, even if he could not break through to the metaphysical realm, he would be able to fight against Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng. Chapter 215. Although it was not as powerful as the Lone Peak of Nine Swords, it was still a good move to test the strength of others. After that, Ji Yu left the forest. He did not return to his room. Instead, he planned to head to the alchemy hall. He had not used the 50,000 contribution points that the white-bearded old man had given him. When he arrived at the alchemy hall, Ji Yu asked Elder Zhuang for 50,000 contribution points worth of alchemy materials. This time, Zhuang Mingyan did not dare to give Ji Yu too many materials. He would have to pay for most of the materials. If this continued, he would not be able to handle it. After obtaining the alchemy materials, Ji Yu handed the inferior grade 3 elixirs to Elder Zhuang for him to sell. After that, Ji Yu returned to his room. He tried not to waste a single second. He took out the alchemy furnace and materials from his storage ring and began to refine the elixirs. He started a fire and placed the materials in. Ding! Master has started to refine grade 3 elixirs. Success rate increased by 999 times. Ding! Master has refined a mediocre grade 3 elixir. Experience gained in alchemy attainment. 800 by 999 times. Ding! Master has refined a superior grade 3 elixir. Experience gained in alchemy attainment. 1,000 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your alchemy attainment has broken through to superior grade for alchemist. Ji Yu continued to refine the elixirs until the middle of the night. He was only halfway done with the other half of the materials. However, since his alchemist level had reached superior grade 4, he stopped for the time being. I'll consume these elixirs first. I'll deal with the rest of the materials later, Ji Yu thought to himself as he consumed the elixirs to increase his cultivation. Ding! Master has consumed a mediocre grade 3 elixir. Experience gained in martial arts cultivation. 30,000 999 times. Ding! Master has consumed a superior grade 3 elixir. Experience gained in martial arts cultivation. 40,000 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has successfully broken through to the early stage of LV1 Tongxian realm. Before Ji Yu had finished taking all the pills, the massive amount of internal force in her body had already broken through the shackles. However, The moment he broke through to the Tongxian realm, a terrifying aura burst forth from his body. Caught off guard, even Ji herself was shocked. He originally wanted to use the Heaven Splitter to suppress the commotion caused by the breakthrough of his cultivation, but he didn't expect it to happen so suddenly. However, Ji quickly came back to his senses and immediately operated the Heaven Splitter to suppress this shocking aura. Even so, it still alarmed many of the surrounding Marshall House students. In the middle of the night, all the students in the dormitory area were awakened. They hurriedly ran out of the room and looked around. Each and every one of them looked at each other with a dumbfounded expression. What happened? Are there people fighting in the Marshall House? No, someone must have broken through. A breakthrough in cultivation? Impossible, right? This kind of aura can only be produced by someone at the Tongxian realm, right? In the entire Marshall House, the only person who has reached the Tongxian realm is probably Ji. At this moment, many of the students' hearts skipped a beat. She had defeated Qi Ling, comprehended the incomplete sword intent, and completed the 3 top-tier missions at lightning speed. Based on what had happened in the past, it was very likely that the aura earlier was caused by Ji. The Tongxian realm. They didn't know how long it would take for them to reach that realm. The most terrifying thing was that Ji was not even 18 years old yet. She had already reached the Tongxian realm at such a young age. After all, even the current king of the Kanglan Empire, the King of Kanglan, when he had awakened his acquired spiritual body and defeated countless geniuses in the Kanglan Empire, he had only broken through to the Tongxian realm when he was 20 years old. Based on this comparison, did it not mean that Ji Yu's martial arts talent had surpassed the King of Kanglan's? The more they thought about it, the more terrified they became. They didn't dare to continue thinking about it. Not only that, but the powerhouses in the Qianyuan martial house, including the mansion master, the vice mansion master, and the elders, had also noticed the commotion caused by Ji Yu. They didn't even care that it was late at night and immediately called for a meeting. Chapter 2:16. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has reached mid-stage of Tongxian Realm LV1. At this moment, Ji Yu was striking while the iron was hot. He consumed the rest of the pills and reached mid-stage of Defensive Mystic Realm LV1 in one go. This time, he used the Sky Splitter to suppress the aura of the breakthrough, so it did not cause too much of a commotion. He knew that his breakthrough just now must have shocked the entire Marshall House. If he did it again, Master Morone might not be able to hold it in and come looking for him. No matter how monstrous one's martial arts talent was, there had to be a limit. In less than a minute, he had made 2 breakthroughs in Tongxian Realm. Even a deity would not be able to do that. That was why he did not want to be too conspicuous to prevent the existence of the system from being exposed. After that, Ji did not plan to continue making pills. Instead, he went straight to sleep. After a night, he had completely digested the remaining medicinal effects in his body. This allowed him to completely stabilize his cultivation base of mid-stage of Tongxian Realm LV1. He could attempt to break through to late stage of Tongxian Realm LV1 at any time. The next morning, early in the morning, Ji Yu started to adapt to his new cultivation base. He had just broken through to Tongxian Realm not long ago. It was not easy for him to control his strength at first, so he needed to get used to it first. Ji tried to circulate the Xian Qi in his body. He could clearly feel that his control of Xian Qi had improved. The so-called Tongxian realm was proficient in Xian Qi. Not only that, the Tongxian realm also had a special ability. That was to release Xian Qi and form a Qi shield. It could be used for both offense and defense. Ji Yu immediately released Xian Qi from his body. As expected, it formed a solid Qi shield. This reminded him of the time when he faced Lin Zhanshan. Lin Zhanshan had used Xian Qi's shield to severely injure him. Although he could not test the power of the Xian Qi shield in the room, he could guess that the power of the Xian Qi shield was comparable to a mystic rank mystic skill. Just a single Qi shield was already so powerful. This was the biggest difference between Tongxian Realm and Defensive Mystic Realm. In fact, after entering Tongxin realm, Jiyu had also gained a lot of strength. For example, mental communication or a substantial improvement in one's physical body, etc. While Jiyu was adjusting to her Tongxin realm cultivation, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin arrived at the same time. Then, the three of them headed to the Violet Gold Great Hall. They had yet to inform Manor Head Murong that they would be returning to Choyang Ancient City today. Naturally, they had to inform him first. After Ji Yu and the others explained the matter, Murong Zi Li didn't have any objections. Ji Yu, when you return, I will confer you the title of Heaven's Pride. More than half of the resources in the manor will be given to you. From beginning to end, she only said this one sentence. Regarding this, Ji Yu didn't have much of an opinion and didn't think too much about it. He simply felt that this was not bad, as he could obtain countless cultivation resources. Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin didn't think much of it because they didn't know what it meant to be a heavenly talent in the Kanglan Empire. However, they didn't expect that the title of heavenly talent would bring a lot of trouble to Ji Yu in the future. After that, Ji Yu brought Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin to take the spirit ship from the royal city to Choyang Ancient City. They bought the high-class ship tickets and the high-class rooms. Once they entered the room, Ji Yu continued to concoct elixirs. Time passed quickly. After an unknown amount of time, Ji Yu finally finished concocting all the ingredients. Then, he immediately swallowed the elixir and tried to increase his cultivation before they arrived at Choyang Ancient City. Ding! Master has consumed a third-grade inferior elixir. Martial cultivation experience gained 20,000 *999 times. Ding! Master has consumed a third-grade middle-grade elixir. Martial cultivation experience gained 30,000 *999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the late stage of LV1 Tongxian realm. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the peak of LV1 Tongxian realm. After a long time, Ji Yu finally absorbed all the medicinal effects of the elixir. His martial cultivation slowly broke through to the peak of LV1 Tongxian realm. Chapter 217. Ding! Master cultivated martial Dao for 1 minute. Martial Dao cultivation experience points gained 10 by 999 times. Ding! Master cultivated martial Dao for 1 minute. Martial Dao cultivation experience points gained 10 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial Dao cultivation level has reached peak LV1 of the Tongxian realm. Before the spirit ship arrived at Chaoyang Ancient City, Ji Yu's cultivation level had reached peak LV1 of the Tongxian realm. It wouldn't take long for her to reach LV2 of the Tongxian realm. After returning to Chaoyang Ancient City, Ji Yu used her movement technique to bring Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin to the city governor's mansion. No one noticed them on the way. Yuechu, Yuexin, and Ji Yu, why are you back? Jiang Zhongtian was shocked to see the three of them. I heard that the Lin family and the Chun family are working together to create trouble, so I came back. Ji Yu said, why are you back at this time? Jiang Zhongtian said worriedly, go back quickly. I only sent someone to inform you. I didn't ask you to come back. He couldn't help but curse himself for being an idiot. It would have been better if he didn't inform them. During such a tense period, these three juniors shouldn't be here. It's okay. We dare to come back this time because we're confident. Ji said confidently. Jiang Zhongtian was about to say something when Jiang Yuechu suddenly said, Father, let's trust Ji Yu. Don't worry. Ji Yu isn't stupid. Moreover, my sister and I are watching over her. At this moment, Jiang Yuexin patted her chest and said confidently, all right. Jiang Zhongtian hesitated for a while before he said. Since his two daughters had already said this much, then he had nothing more to say. But you have to stay in the mansion during this time. Don't run around. Do you understand? Jiang Zhongtian said. The entire Chaoyang Ancient City was in chaos. Ever since the Lin family and the Chun family joined hands, most of the forces in Chaoyang ancient city sided with the Lin family and the Qin family. As for the remaining half of the forces, only a small portion still stood on the side of the city lord mansion, while the rest were quietly observing. It could be said that the current situation of the city lord manor was very embarrassing. If it wasn't for the Chaoyang branch supporting them, they probably wouldn't have been able to hold on. This was all thanks to Jiyu. If not for Jiyu, the Chaoyang branch would not have intervened. To put it simply, there was no place that was absolutely safe outside the city lord mansion. I understand. Jiyu nodded. He had never intended to run around. He wanted to wait for the arrival of the Lin family and the Chun family. Yu Chu understands. Yu Xin understands. Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin also agreed. It's good that you understand. Jiang Zhongtian heaved a sigh of relief. However, just in case, he still wanted to arrange for an expert to secretly monitor little friend Ji and his two worrisome daughters. Right. At this time, Jiyu suddenly thought of something and asked, Mansion Master Jiang, when will the Lin family and the Chun family come again? In 3 days. Jiang Zhongtian said, 3 days from noon is the deadline they gave us. If we don't hand over the city lord's mansion, they will flatten the entire city lord's mansion. As he spoke, his eyes revealed a trace of heaviness. This time, the Chun and Lin family's alliance was too fierce. The city lord's mansion would not be able to withstand it. Moreover, there were many forces on the Chun and Lin family's side. When the time comes, they would definitely come to support them. Their situation would only worsen. Flatten this place. If that's the case, then Lin Zhanshan and Qin Wuheng will appear, right? Jiyu narrowed her eyes. That's right. Jiang Zhongtian nodded. Not only that, the main forces of the Chun and Lin family will probably come together. There might even be people from other forces. Okay, then I know. Jiyu nodded, then fell into deep thought. He did not care about the main forces or other forces. As long as Lin Zhanshan and Qin Wuheng would come, it was fine. Chapter 218. Setting up an array formation. Since the other party was going to send a large group of people, then the best countermeasure was naturally to set up an array formation. Most array formations were the kind that could cause damage and various effects to multiple targets. When the time came, Jiyu planned to set up an array formation that would weaken the other party and strengthen them. Master Jiang, I have a request. Jiyu said to Jiang Zhongtian. Master Jiang should know about array formations, right? I know. The Qin family has 2 or 3 array masters with decent strength, but recently they have all disappeared without a trace. Jiang Zhongtian said. Jiyu thought that of course they had disappeared. Those 3 array masters have been killed by him a month ago. Then I hope that Master Jiang can send someone to collect the materials needed to draw various array diagrams. I have great use for them. Jiyu said. Could it be? You mean? Jiang Zhongtian seemed to have realized something very quickly. Yes, I plan to use array formations to deal with those people. Jiyu said, that's not a problem. I'll send someone to collect the materials later. They'll be in your hands within a day at most. Jiang Zhongtian said. At the same time, he was extremely shocked. He never thought that Jiyu would actually know how to draw array diagrams. Not only did he have monstrous talent in martial arts and alchemy, but he also had the identity of an array master. How much more was this little friend hiding? Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin were also very surprised. They never knew that Jiyu actually knew about array formations. All right, then I'll have to trouble Master Jiang to provide me with a place to rest. I'll go and prepare. Jiyu said, no problem. After saying that, Jiang Zhongtian turned to Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin and said, Yu Chuiwe, Uxin, you too can bring little friend Ji there. Ding! Master has taken a step. The experience gained from the high-grade profound rank, profound skill, 1,000 illusions, myriad flash. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step. The experience gained from the high-grade profound rank, profound skill, 1,000 illusions, myriad flash. 1 by 999 times. Not long after, Jiyu was brought to a rather luxurious room. After chatting for a while, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin left because Ji Yu was about to get down to business. The so-called proper business was to raise the level of the array master. If Ji Yu didn't remember wrongly, she was only a superior first-grade array master. At this level, the array diagrams drawn would not be of much use. At the very least, he would need to raise his array formation master level to the 3rd or 4th stage in order to be able to play a huge role in the upcoming 3 days. Then, Ji Yu took out a book on spell formations from her storage ring. This was a book he had randomly picked up on the street. The content did not matter. What was important was that as long as he read the relevant secret book, he would be able to obtain 999 times the experience. Although drawing an array diagram would increase the speed of leveling up faster, he did not have the materials to draw an array diagram right now, so he could only use the simplest method. When Ji Yu flipped to the first page of the secret manual, the system notification immediately rang in her mind. Ding! Master has read Basic Spell Formation Secret Manual for 1 minute. Array Formation Mastery gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has read Basic Spell Formation Secret Manual for 1 minute. Array Formation Mastery gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Array Formation Mastery has successfully broken through to the inferior grade 2 Array Master. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Array Formation Mastery has successfully broken through to the intermediate grade 2 Array Master. After reading the secret manual for half a day, Ji Yu had only reached the intermediate grade 2 Array Master standard. Currently, he could draw an array diagram of an intermediate grade 2 array formation. However, this was not enough. At least, it was far from enough for the matter in 3 days. Right at this moment, Jiang Yuechu brought the materials that Mansion Head Jiang had sent people to collect into the house. Ji Yu, these are the materials that the City Lord's mansion collected. Jiang Yuechu said, the materials for drawing array diagrams in Chaoyang Ancient City are relatively rare. Moreover, the city is very chaotic right now, so we can only collect these. It's okay. These are enough. Ji Yu took a storage ring from Jiang Yuechu and said, these materials must be in this storage ring. Looking at Ji Yu's face, Jiang Yuechu hesitated for a moment before saying, Ji Yu, don't force yourself too much. If you really can't do it, we'll take a step back first. Chapter 219. It's okay. I'm not forcing myself. Ji Yu said with a smile. How could he back down when he was about to face Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng? He had to kill his enemies in 3 days. He would not let go of such a good opportunity for revenge. Okay, Jiang Yuechu did not know whether Ji Yu was telling the truth or not, but she knew that she could not change Ji Yu's mind, so she did not say anything else. But no matter what, the smile in front of her made her feel more at ease. After Jiang Yuechu left, Ji Yu immediately prepared to draw the array diagram. The ring that Jiang Yuechu sent over was a very common first-rank storage ring that was specifically used to temporarily store things. In other words, it was a one-time use item. Ji Yu took out the materials from the first-grade storage ring and began to filter them. First, he filtered out the lower-grade materials and set them aside. These were all for the sake of increasing his formation master level, and there was no other use for them. After that, Ji Yu began to draw the array diagram. Ding! Master has drawn a first-grade low-grade array diagram. Formation Mastery, gain experience. 20 by 999 times. Ding! Master has drawn a first-grade high-grade array diagram. Formation Mastery, gained experience. 100 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Formation Mastery has successfully broken through to a second-grade high-grade Formation Master. With the help of the 999 times success rate, Ji Yu quickly finished drawing all the materials for the first-grade array diagram and became a second-grade high-grade Formation Master. The materials for the first-grade array diagram were only a portion, and there were still materials for the second-grade and third-grade array diagrams. Then, he began to draw the second-grade array diagram. Ding! Master has drawn a second-grade low-grade array diagram. Formation Mastery, gained experience. 200 by 999 times. Ding. Master has drawn a second-grade high-grade array diagram. Formation mastery, gained experience. 400 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Formation mastery has successfully broken through to a third-grade low-grade formation master. In the end, all that was left were some materials for the grade 3 array formation. However, there weren't many materials for grade 3 array diagrams. GU examined the materials in detail and found that these materials could only be used to draw 3 third-grade array diagrams at most. A medium grade 3 offensive formation and 2 inferior grade 3 support formations. Among them, the 2 auxiliary formations were exactly what he wanted. One was to weaken the enemy, while the other was to strengthen his side. GU is currently only an inferior tier 3 array master. She was unable to draw the intermediate tier 3 offensive array diagram, so she could only draw these 2 auxiliary array diagrams first. Ding. Master has drawn a third-grade lower grade array. Experience gained from array formation attainment. 600 * 999x. Ding. Master has drawn a third-grade lower grade array. Experience gained from array formation attainment. 600 * 999x. He had finished drawing the diagrams for the 2 auxiliary formations, but he still couldn't break through to become a grade 3 intermediate formation master. For the time being, GU did not continue to draw the grade 3 medium offensive formation diagram. Next, GU walked out of the room and found a place where there was no one around. After activating all of the grade 3 array diagrams, he gained a huge amount of experience from array formation attainment. In the end, he finally broke through to become a grade 3 intermediate formation master and successfully drew the grade 3 medium offensive formation diagram. This was a grade 3 medium offensive formation named 10,000 Swords Killing Formation. Its power was much stronger than the Xiao Sha Zhen that GU encountered previously. The required formation had been prepared. Now, GU only needed to wait for Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuheng to deliver themselves to him in 3 days. He finally had a chance to deal with those 2 old dogs. When the time came, he would settle all the grudges from back then. Chapter 220. Ding. Master has set up a weak tier 3 Xian formation. Formation mastery, gained experience. 600 by 999 times. Ding. Master has set up a tier 3 excitation formation. Formation mastery, gained experience. 600 by 999 times. Ding. Master has set up a tier 3 10,000 Swords formation. Formation mastery, gained experience. 800 by 999 times. After spending a long time, GU set up the 3 formations in the City Lord's Mansion's meeting hall. When the time came, everyone would gather here and the formations would be able to unleash their full potential. The weak Xian formation was one of the 2 inferior tier 3 auxiliary formations. It could weaken the opponent's Xian Qi to a certain extent, which was equivalent to weakening the opponent's strength. As for the excitation formation, it was the other inferior tier 3 auxiliary formation that kept the opponent in a state of excitement. As for the 10,000 Swords formation, it was needless to say. Although all the formations were prepared, GU did not relax just because of that. There were still 2 days left. He planned to continue strengthening his strength. Ding. Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience. 10 by 999 times. Ding. Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience. 10 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the early stage of the 2nd stage of the Tongxian realm. 2 days have passed. Not only did GU stabilize his cultivation base, but he also broke through to the 2nd stage of the Tongxian realm. Today, the Lin family and the Chun family would come knocking on his door. GU left the room and hurried to the meeting hall to meet with Manor Head Jiang and the others. When he arrived at the meeting hall, he could feel the heavy atmosphere. The city lord's mansion was likely to be met with a bloody disaster today. Ji Yu sat beside Jiang Zhongtian. Jiang Zhongtian used his mental power to send a message to Ji Yu. How are your preparations? Although everyone present was from the city lord's mansion, there might be spies from the Chun and Lin families. He naturally had to be careful. Everything is ready. Ji Yu also used her mental power to communicate. Jiang Zhongtian was stunned for a while before he reacted. Ji Yu is actually using spiritual communication. Does that mean Ji Yu's cultivation has already reached Tongxian realm? Jiang Zhongtian's eyes were filled with shock. He remembered that Ji Yu is only 16 years old. To be able to reach Tongxian realm at such a young age, he was at a loss for words to describe this terrifying talent. He remembered that the youngest Tongxian expert in the history of the Kanglan Empire was the current Duke of Kanglan. However, at that time, the Duke of Navy Waves was already 20 years old. It could be said that Ji Yu had already broken the record set by the Duke of House of Storms. Not only that, she had dragged the record from before she was 20 years old to 16 years old. There was a difference of 4 years. In comparison, the Duke of Navy Waves was nothing in front of Ji Yu. Jiang Zhongtian rejoiced that his Jiang family was acquainted with such a terrifying existence. Now, he was even more determined to matchmake his 2 daughters with Ji Yu. That way, the Jiang family would be able to achieve meteoric success. At this moment, Jiang Zhongtian was in a daze. City Lord, the Lin family, Chun family, and a few other forces are here. He only regained his senses when he heard this hurried voice. Just as he had expected, the Lin and Chun clans were not the only ones who had come this time. Jiang Zhongtian's expression was calm. He nodded slowly and waited for the other party to arrive. At the same time, he had already made up his mind. If they were to fall out with each other, he would protect Ji Yu even if he had to lose his life. Although Ji Yu was already at Tongxian realm, in his opinion, she should have just broken through not long ago. She wouldn't be able to compete with veteran Tongxian realm experts like Lin Zhanshan. Chapter 2:21. At this moment, the Chun and Lin family had arrived at the meeting hall. Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan walked at the front. When they saw Ji Yu sitting next to Jiang Zhongtian, their eyes were filled with shock. Didn't this kid go to the Qianyuan martial house? Why did he come back? But it was just as well. They could take care of this kid today. The other families who came with the Chun and Lin families also noticed Ji Yu. They had a deep impression of this young man, especially in the recruitment exam and alchemy conference not long ago. This young man's performance completely changed their worldview. It was their first time seeing such a peerless genius. Jiang Zhongtian, what do you think? At this moment, Chen Wuheng was the first to speak. He didn't even sit down. He didn't give Jiang Zhongtian any face at all. Jiang Zhongtian frowned slightly. He didn't look too good. These people came in full force. They didn't even bother to pretend. There's nothing to think about. Our Jiang family will never give up our position. Jiang Zhongtian looked coldly at Chen Wuheng and said, "So there's no room for negotiation?" Chen Wuheng said coldly, "Then don't blame us for being rude. I'm happy to oblige." Jiang Zhongtian didn't back down. He waved his hand. Immediately, a large group of guards rushed into the meeting hall and surrounded Chen Wuheng and the others. A great battle was about to break out. Insignificant skill," Chen Wuheng said disdainfully. Although there were many people on the other side, they were all a bunch of trash in his eyes. He brought elites with him this time. There were also the family heads of the various families. They could deal with this group of guards in a snap of their fingers. When the guards of the City Lord Mansion rushed in, Ji Yu instantly activated the 3 arrays that were set up in advance. When the 3 arrays were activated at the same time, Chen Wuheng and the others felt a sense of crisis. This was an array. Most people panicked. Only Chen Wuheng, Lin Zhanshan, and the other family heads were relatively calm. Today's battle was inevitable. It was normal for the City Lord Mansion to set up arrays in advance, until a beam of sword energy cut through their cheeks. This is at least a 3rd rank array formation. Everyone, be careful. Chen Wuheng was the first to react. He immediately reminded the people behind him. However, he immediately realized the severity of the matter. Not only that, he felt that the profound qi in his body was slowly weakening. What the hell is going on? Chen Wuheng's face was gloomy as he exchanged glances with Lin Zhanshan. The two of them rushed toward Jiyu. No matter what, I'll take this brat's life first. Just as Jiang Zhongtian was about to face Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan on his own, Jiyu had already rushed forward. Ding! Master has used Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash. Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash experience gained. 400 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The yellow rank superior grade profound skill, Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash, has successfully broken through to the greater height stage. Ding! It has been detected that Thousand Illusions Myriad Flash has reached the Great Perfection stage. It has automatically upgraded to the Earth rank inferior grade profound skill, Lightning Light Change. Jiyu used his movement skill to rush towards Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan. Suddenly, his movement skill upgraded to the Earth rank profound skill, Lightning Light Change. After being pleasantly surprised for a moment, he calmly pulled out the cold blade from his waist. He didn't plan to test the waters. Instead, he directly used the lone peak of 9 swords. On the other side, Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan were overjoyed when they saw Jiyu charging towards them. Although this brat's speed was abnormally fast, they didn't think that this brat had much ability. From their point of view, this brat was purely here to die. Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan definitely didn't expect that Jiyu's attack would be so terrifying. Chapter 222. Jiyu, don't be impulsive, Jiang Zhongtian shouted. He didn't expect Jiyu to rush over in the blink of an eye. If something happened to Jiyu, he would really be in despair. However, Jiyu didn't turn back because he had already swung Cold Blade. 9 consecutive slashes were unleashed in an instant, catching Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan off guard. Suddenly, wounds appeared on their bodies, and blood flowed out uncontrollably. Only then did they realize that they were injured, and they were dumbfounded. Old Dog died. Seeing that his previous move was so effective, Jiyu didn't give Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan any chance to catch their breaths, and immediately used his full strength. Ding! Master activated 10% of Sword Dao True Meaning. 10% of Sword Dao True Meaning gained experience. 100 by 999 times. The lone peak of 9 swords, which contained sword intent, was much more powerful. Under the enhancement of sword intent, every slash was even more powerful, and Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan were completely defeated. At this moment, Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan were badly mutilated, and both of them were lying on the ground, barely hanging on to life. They looked at Jiyu in fear, not expecting to end up in such a pitiful state. In the next moment, their last breaths were also gone. The battle hadn't even started for half a minute, and the 2 leaders were already dead. Everyone on the opposing side was stunned, but the City Lord Manor's morale was greatly boosted. With the help of the 10,000 swords killing array, all the opposing cultivators below the Mystic Comprehension Realm were quickly killed. Only a dozen or so Mystic Comprehension Realm cultivators were left, and they were barely holding on. The City Lord Manor didn't suffer many losses, and Jiyu even sat on a chair leisurely, drinking tea while watching the battle. Only when they were completely exhausted did Jiyu stand up and slowly walk over. Die or submit? Jiyu coldly looked at those people and said indifferently. As soon as he finished speaking, the first person immediately knelt on the ground. I'm willing to submit. I'm willing to submit. The rest of the patriarchs and elders hesitated for a moment before they too knelt on the ground and said in unison. Jiyu nodded slightly, then began to communicate mentally with Jiang Zhongtian. Manor Head Jiang, I'll have to trouble you to lock them up later. I'll need them in the future. Hearing Jiyu's voice, Jiang Zhongtian recovered from his shock and sent a telepathic message to Jiyu. No problem. He took a deep look at Jiyu, his eyes still flashing with shock. After all, both Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan were at Tongxian Stage 2, yet they were unable to retaliate in front of Jiyu. If it were him, he would be far from being a match for Jiyu. If Jiang Zhongtian didn't remember wrongly, it had been less than a month since Jiyu left last time. In less than a month, he was already standing at the peak of martial arts in Chaoyang Ancient City. Jiang Zhongtian smiled in relief. It was time for an old man like him to give way to the younger generation. From now on, the strongest person in Chaoyang Ancient City was no longer him, but Jiyu. It's a pity that he probably doesn't care about my position as the manor head. Otherwise, I really want to give this position to him and let him live a carefree life. Jiang Zhongtian thought to himself and sighed softly. After all, a true dragon would not settle down in a place of mud. With Jiyu's talent, it was impossible for him to stay in a barren place like Chaoyang Ancient City. Even the Kanglin Empire might not be able to restrain Jiyu. Perhaps the world outside of the Kanglin Empire was the world that Jiyu truly yearned for. After the battle ended, Jiyu stopped the three formations and destroyed them to prevent them from harming his own people. Ding! Master has deciphered a weak tier 3 Xian formation. Formation Mastery gained experience points. 600 by 999 times. Ding! Master has deciphered a tier 3 Excitement formation. Formation Mastery gained experience points. 600 by 999 times. Ding! Master has deciphered a tier 3 Myriad Swords formation. Formation Mastery gained experience points. 800 by 999 times. Seeing that Jiyu had no intention of making a move, the family heads and elders who had submitted to him heaved a sigh of relief. Even Shen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan were instantly killed by this young man. If this young man wanted to kill them, they would be in a worse state. Chapter 223. Jiyu had subdued more than a dozen ethereal enlightenment experts. They were all clan masters or grand elders of various clans in Chaoyang Ancient City. When the news spread out the next day, the entire Chaoyang Ancient City was in an uproar. Especially the clans whose clan masters and elders had been subdued, they were all in a mess. As for the clans that had been observing quietly, they were glad that they did not choose a side casually. This was because they had always been on the side of the Chun and Lin clans. They were just hesitant and did not do it openly. Now, almost everyone in Chaoyang Ancient City was full of fear and respect for Jiyu. They were all guessing in their hearts just how terrifying Jiyu's strength was. The Castellan Mansion. Now that he had personally killed his enemy, Jiyu was in a much better mood. Now, he only had one enemy left. He wanted to kill the most, and that was Chun Yen. However, ever since that guy went to the Kanglin Empire Academy, there had been no news about him. He could not rush into the Kanglin Empire Academy to seek revenge on Chun Yen. He could only wait patiently. Now that there is nothing else to do here, I should go back to the Qianyuan Martial House tomorrow and find a chance to kill Chun Yen. Jiyu thought to himself. However, at this moment, Jiang Zhongtian walked into the room. What's the matter, Mansion Master Jiang? Jiyu asked immediately. I haven't seen Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin these 2 days. Where did they go? He did not see Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin when he was in the meeting hall yesterday. I asked them to hide in the secret underground room yesterday. They just came out. Jiang Zhongtian said. However, he looked like he had something to say. He continued, Young Master, I have a request. I hope you could take over my position and unify the entire Chaoyang Ancient City. Even though he knew that Jiyu might not like him, he still wanted to fight for it. His tone sounded very solemn and sincere, and Jiyu couldn't help but become serious. Why do you want me to take over your position? Mansion Master Jiang, can you explain? Jiyu asked. To be honest, he didn't want to sit in the position of City Lord. To put it bluntly, he couldn't be bothered to manage so many things. But since Manor Head Zhang's attitude was so solemn, he thought it would be better to first understand the reason. Young Master should still remember the black fiend fatal poison that my wife was afflicted with, right? Hearing that Jiyu did not directly refuse, Jiang Zhongtian felt slightly relieved and continued. I still remember. Ji nodded. As soon as he heard about the black fiend fatal poison, he immediately felt that it was somewhat interesting. Speaking of which, although he had comprehended the black fiend life-ending palm a long time ago, he had never used it before. Because that kind of palm technique was too evil, it made him feel a little disgusted. However, if he had the chance, he could use the black fiend life-ending palm to torture Qinyan. The black fiend fatal poison would not cause immediate death, but it would endlessly torment a person's mind and body until they were completely dead. The one who did this to my wife is a guy from the Evolving Temple, Jiang Zhongtian said, with a solemn expression. Evolving Temple. Ji Yu asked curiously, what's that? As for the Evolving Temple, I only heard rumors. Rumor has it that it's a mysterious force outside of the Kanglan Empire. Jiang Zhongtian said, just over 10 years ago, the Evolving Temple's hands and feet spread to the Kanglan Empire. I don't know why, but those people like to capture talented geniuses. In other words, back then, you met someone from the Evolving Temple, and that's why your wife was poisoned? Ji Yu guessed based on Jiang Zhongtian's words. That's right. At that time, my wife and I took Yu on a long trip. Jiang Zhongtian recalled. On the way, we met a strange man in black. As soon as he saw me, he wanted to take Yu away. The one holding Yu was my wife. Although I tried my best to stop him, my wife was still hit by that strange man in black. I see. Ji nodded slightly, thinking in his heart. In the end, I managed to save Yu. However, she was still young at that time, and because she was too frightened, she has already lost that memory. Chapter 2:24. He also said that he's just an ordinary believer of the Evolving Temple. As long as I hand Yu over, he'll definitely help her reach the top. Jiang Zhongtian couldn't help but say angrily, but how can I hand my daughter over to such an unknown guy? He even made my wife suffer so much. Ji was silent for a moment before saying, I think I understand. That person is about to make a comeback, and the power behind him is terrifying. Then he asked, but what I don't understand is why it took 10 years. If the Evolving Temple was as mysterious as Jiang Zhongtian said, why did they need to wait 10 years? I'm not sure. Maybe they're still planning something. Jiang Zhongtian shook his head. So, Mansion Master Jiang wants me to take over your position so you can fight against the Evolving Temple? Ji said, something like that. Now that the entire Chaoyang ancient city is in chaos, you can take this opportunity to unify all the forces in the city. With your strength, you can definitely do it. Jiang Zhongtian said, but I don't want anything else. I just want you to protect my 2 daughters. Hearing Jiang Zhongtian's words, Ji Yu fell into deep thought. He now understood that Mansion Master Jiang's main purpose was to protect Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, and the Evolving Temple's target was Jiang Yuechu. Unifying the Chaoyang ancient city was to have enough strength to fight against the Evolving Temple. In fact, Ji Yu wasn't against this kind of thing. He was a little tempted to form his own force. The reason why Zhang Xian didn't kill those people yesterday and had them submit to him instead was because he wanted to get a bunch of Tongxian realm fighters on a whim. I can try. Ji Yu thought for a moment before replying. I am truly grateful for young master's kindness. Jiang Zhongtian was overjoyed and knelt on the ground in excitement. Mansion Master Jiang, you don't have to be so polite. Ji Yu was flattered and immediately helped Jiang Zhongtian up. Don't call me Mansion Master Jiang anymore. From now on, you're the Mansion Master. Mansion Master Ji. Jiang Zhongtian bowed his head and said, all right, there's no need to be so serious. Ji Yu smiled awkwardly. He was used to joking around, so he wasn't used to Jiang Zhongtian's solemn expression. That's right. Manorhead Ji, I have one more thing to ask of you. Jiang Zhongtian said, just say it. Ji said, can Manorhead Ji marry my 2 daughters? Jiang Zhongtian rubbed his hands and said, look, Yuechu and Yuexin are not bad. They should be able to enter young master's eyes, right? Ji was stunned for a moment. That Didn't I say that I'm still too young and don't want to consider marriage? I see. Jiang Zhongtian thought for a moment and continued. That doesn't matter. We can get engaged first. Madam didn't mention these things, so Jiang Zhongtian didn't know. But no matter what, he wanted to matchmake Jiyu and his two daughters. Jiyu hesitated for a moment and said, then I'll ask them later. If they don't have any objections, then I don't have any problems either. All right. Jiang Zhongtian immediately responded excitedly. He didn't expect Jiyu to agree so quickly. As long as Jiyu didn't have any problems, then there definitely wouldn't be any problems. This was because he had already seen that Yuechu and Yuexin had a very good impression of Jiyu. They definitely wouldn't have any objections. Perhaps Yuexin might not be honest with her personality, but with Yuechu around, he wasn't worried at all. Jiang Zhongtian didn't want anything else. He only hoped that Jiyu could protect Yuechu and Yuexin. This time, he was pleading with Jiyu in order to make up for the mistakes he had made. Chapter 225. Jiyu found Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin and talked to them about what Jiang Zhongtian said. Really, father is making decisions on his own again. Jiang Yuexin complained. After complaining, she secretly glanced at Jiyu and whispered, what do you think? Jiyu wanted to say, I don't care, but he thought about it and changed his words. I'm willing, so I came to ask for your opinion. Actually, he had always known the feelings of the two sisters, but he always pretended to be stupid. After all, he had lived 2 lives, so his EQ was not that low. But back then, he was still shouldering the heavy responsibility of revenge and had no time to care about love. Now that he had personally killed Lin Zhanshan and Chen Wuong, there was only Chun Yin left. As long as there was a chance, he could deal with him at any time. He felt that it was time to face Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin seriously. Then this young lady reluctantly agrees. Jiang Yuexin looked like she was not very happy, but she was actually very happy. Then what do you think? Jiyu turned to look at Jiang Yuechu and asked. Of course I have no objection. Jiang Yuechu smiled and said, but father didn't force you to take the position of city lord, right? No, I did it willingly. Ji said. He did not mention the matter of the Temple of Evolution, because he did not want the two sisters to worry. In the end, the marriage was settled like this. There was no banquet, no announcement to the world, just a simple marriage contract. When Jiyu turned 18, it would be the wedding day. He decided to wait until then to give Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin a grand wedding. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. In these 7 days, Jiyu went to the Qianyuan martial house. He went to the scripture pavilion and chose a secret technique manual. Now, Jiyu had returned to the city lord's mansion. What he brought back this time was a secret manual called the Intermediate Soul Controlling Technique, which could control the souls of others. The soul was the origin of a person. Once it was controlled by someone, it would become a puppet. Jiyu planned to practice this intermediate soul-controlling technique in order to control those who had submitted to him before. Ding! Master's comprehension ability has increased by 999 times after taking a look at the superior mystic class secret technique, intermediate soul manipulation technique. Ding! Congratulations, Master! You have successfully comprehended the mystic high-grade secret technique, intermediate soul-controlling technique. Just like before, he comprehended it with a single glance. As long as the other party did not resist, even a spirit profound realm expert would be able to control this high-grade, profound rank, intermediate soul controlling technique. However, the prerequisite was that the other party could not resist. However, G was confident that those guys wouldn't resist. After all, almost no one was unafraid of death. Ding! Master, take a look at Intermediate Soul Puppeteer. Intermediate Soul Puppeteer experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master, take a look at Intermediate Soul Puppeteer. Intermediate Soul Puppeteer experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master! The mystic high-grade secret technique, Intermediate Soul Puppeteer, has successfully broken through to the minor accomplishment realm. After cultivating the intermediate soul puppeteer to the minor accomplishment realm, GU stopped. For those guys whose cultivation was only at LV1 or LV2 of the Tongshin realm, the minor accomplishment realm would be sufficient. After that, GU immediately prepared to test it on those people. City Lord's Mansion, Dungeon. City Lord. City Lord. Seeing GU walking over, a few elite guards guarding the entrance of the dungeon immediately shouted. This was one of the forbidden areas of the City Lord's Mansion. All kinds of evil people were imprisoned in the Chaoyang ancient city, including those family heads and elders who had submitted to GU. They were all imprisoned here temporarily by Jiang Zhongtian. Now that GU had taken over the City Lord's position, he could enter and leave the dungeon as he pleased. This time, he came here to use the soul puppeteer to make those people submit completely. He did not want to leave any trace of risk. With the soul puppeteer, he did not have to worry about those people at all. Moreover, those people were all family heads and elders. If he could control the core members of a family, then he could easily subdue the entire family. His ultimate goal was to unify the Chaoyang ancient city. Chapter 2:26. Ding. Master has taken a step. Earth rank inferior thunder light transformation gained experience points. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master has taken a step. Earth rank inferior thunder light transformation gained experience points. 1 by 999 times. GU walked into the dungeon. This dungeon was very special as it would suppress everyone's cultivation. Furthermore, the walls were very hard, and there was a high-level array that automatically repaired the walls. It could basically ignore any attack below the Tongshin realm. GU came to a prison cell, and the person he was looking for was locked inside. Although these people were in the Tongshin realm, they were suppressed to the 9th level of the defensive profound realm by the dungeon. All of them were well-behaved because they had no way of escaping. The moment they saw GU, they immediately shouted at GU. GU, we have already submitted to you. Why are you still not letting us go? What are you trying to do by imprisoning us in such a place? Just tell us what you want us to do. Why you have to humiliate us like this? Being imprisoned in such a place, they who were usually in high positions could not tolerate it. Don't worry, I will let you out soon, GU said indifferently. But before that, you have to accept my soul-controlling technique. Soul-controlling technique? That's impossible. Of course they knew what the soul-controlling technique was. Once they accepted the soul-controlling technique, it meant that their lives were in GU's hands. Do you think you have a choice? GU sneered. Either accept my soul-controlling technique or die. As soon as he finished speaking, he unsheathed his sword. He used the solitary killing 9 swords and easily cut open the cage, as if he was cutting a piece of tofu. This was a show of strength to the other party. Seeing this scene, the hearts of the people in the cage trembled. The cage that they could not break open even after using all their strength was actually easily cut open by GU. They recalled how Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan were instantly killed by GU. If he were to be struck by this sword, the consequences would be unimaginable. In the face of death, everyone's hearts were shaken. It wasn't easy for them to reach their current heights, so they cherished their lives even more. Soon, several people succumbed. We are willing to accept the soul manipulation technique. As they spoke, they walked out. Although his life would be controlled by GU, it was better to be alive than dead. GU didn't say anything. She silently looked at the other guys who were still struggling internally. They struggled for a while, then walked out with ugly expressions. In order to survive, they had no choice but to give up everything. Since all of you are willing to accept, then let's begin, GU said calmly. Then, he began to use the intermediate soul manipulation technique. Ding! Master has used the intermediate soul manipulation technique. Intermediate soul manipulation technique obtained experience, 400 by 999 times. Although this person still had some resistance in his heart, he did not stop GU from using the soul manipulation technique on the first person. Very soon, the first person was successfully controlled. This person's soul was now in Ji-Yu's hands. He could decide this person's life and death at any time. Then the second person, the third person, ding. Master has used the intermediate soul manipulation technique. Intermediate soul manipulation technique obtained experience. 400 by 999 times. Ding. Master has used the intermediate soul manipulation technique. Intermediate soul manipulation technique obtained experience. 400 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. The high-level, profound rank secret technique, intermediate soul manipulation technique, has successfully broken through to the mastery realm. A total of 13 people were all controlled, and Ji-Yu's intermediate soul manipulation technique had also been upgraded. Master, I am willing to serve, Master. Please give your orders, Master. The moment they were controlled by Ji-Yu's soul manipulation technique, they were all loyal to Ji-Yu. They all bowed down to Ji-Yu. All of you go back and announce that your families have been taken under the command of the City Lord's mansion. You can go back now. Ji-Yu ordered. Yes, sir. The 13 of them said in unison. Chapter 227. Among the 13 people, 10 were the patriarchs of the various families, and 3 were the great elders of the 10 families. There were a total of 10 families, and Ji-Yu had to take a look at all of them. Otherwise, the other members of the families would not be convinced. Ji-Yu ordered one of the patriarchs to go with him to the Fong family. This person was called Fong Chong, and he was the patriarch of the Fong family in Chaoyang Ancient City. The remaining 12 people were guarding the City Lord's mansion to prevent the Chun and Lin family from taking advantage of his absence to attack the City Lord's mansion. The Fong family was not considered strong in Chaoyang Ancient City, but they were not too weak either. They were considered a family with average strength. Ji-Yu only had this little impression of the Fong family. Ding. Master has taken a step. Earth rank inferior mystic skill lightning ray transformation gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master has taken a step. Earth rank inferior mystic skill lightning ray transformation gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Under Fong Chong's lead, Ji-Yu arrived at the Fong family's mansion. Outside the Fong family's mansion, he saw hundreds of guards guarding the door. Especially a young lady with a heroic face wearing red armor. She was the most eye-catching. Ever since the patriarch was captured in the City Lord's mansion, the entire Fong family fell into a state of high tension. Seeing Fong Chong and Ji-Yu walking together, the heroic young lady quickly went forward and said, "Patriarch, you are finally back." Then, her gaze turned to the unfamiliar young man beside the patriarch. This is the new City Lord. Why aren't you kneeling when you see the City Lord?" Fong Chong pointed at the heroic young lady and scolded. The new City Lord? Could he be Ji-Yu? The heroic young lady was slightly stunned, and then her expression became very resistant. From what she knew, Ji-Yu was the enemy of the Fong family. How could she be willing to kneel to the enemy? Patriarch, he is alone now. If the entire Fong family works together, we will definitely be able to defeat him. The heroic young lady asked with a gloomy face. Slap! A crisp sound of slap rang out. The heroic girl covered her face with an expression of disbelief. Her eyes were lifeless as she knelt on the ground. Stubborn bastard. Fong Chong directly pulled out the long sword at his waist and angrily rebuked. Today, I will clean up the sect. The Fong family guard behind the heroic girl were all dumbfounded. They were all dumbfounded. They couldn't understand what was going on and didn't dare to rush over. Hold on. At this moment, Ji-Yu suddenly spoke. Fong Chong immediately withdrew his sword and silently retreated behind Ji-Yu. This was Ji-Yu using her consciousness to control Fong Chong's soul. Even if Fong Chong was unwilling, he had to do as she said. With an indifferent expression, he walked in front of the heroic girl and squatted down. He pinched the heroic girl's chin and made the heroic girl look straight at him. What's your name? Ji-Yu asked calmly. The heroic girl didn't open her mouth for a long time. Her face looked as if she had been played to the point of breaking. How boring. Ji shook his head slightly. A trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. He originally thought that this woman would have a lot of courage. In the end, she couldn't hold on after experiencing such a small situation. He stood up and walked around the heroic girl. Just as he was about to speak to the Fong family people, he heard a voice behind him. Fong Junyi. The heroic girl lowered her head. She was still in the same position. With her back facing Jiyu, she said in a deep voice. What? Jiyu didn't hear clearly. He turned around and glanced at the heroic girl. My name is Fong Junyi. The heroic girl's face was as cold as ice. She said coldly, If you don't kill me, I will definitely kill you in the future. Is that so? Jiyu smiled faintly. Then I will look forward to it. You can work hard with killing me as your goal. I will definitely do it. Fong Junyi looked coldly at Jiyu. Even the head of the family had to submit to the enemy. Her heart was filled with humiliation. Fong Chong didn't say a word. Before Jiyu gave the order, he wouldn't act on his own accord. At this time, Jiyu's gaze turned to the Fong family people. Join the city lord's mansion or die. Make your choice. Jiyu's tone was very calm. It was as if he was talking about something insignificant. Chapter 228. Everyone in the Fong family looked at each other, not daring to utter a single word. At this moment, someone suddenly shouted, Everyone, don't be afraid. The elders have come out. They will definitely be able to convince the family head to fight against that guy. The Fong family members had never seen Jiyu's strength with their own eyes. They still had a trace of hope in their hearts, thinking that they had a chance to defeat Jiyu. Then, more than 10 elders of the Fong family walked out. However, what the Fong family members did not expect was that all the elders actually knelt down in front of Jiyu. We choose to submit to the city lord. All the elders of the Fong family said in unison. How could they not know how terrifying Jiyu's strength was? It had been many days since the rumors said that Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan were killed by Jiyu. If Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan were still alive, they would definitely not sit by and watch. There were only two possibilities. Either they were subdued by Jiyu, or they were already dead. The hearts of the Fong family members were completely shaken. Even the family head and elders had submitted to him. What was the point of continuing to struggle? One by one, they threw away the weapons in their hands and knelt down in front of Jiyu. Just like that, Jiyu successfully subdued the Fong family. In the next few days, Jiyu did the same thing to the other 9 families. In essence, they were all using the same method, which was to use absolute strength to make those families submit to him. Other than teaching a few troublemakers a lesson, Jiyu did not injure anyone, let alone kill anyone. This was because he would not casually kill people who were not related to him. Moreover, these people were a part of his combat strength. As for the other families in Chaoyang Ancient City, Jiyu did not make a move yet. He was preparing to sit quietly and wait for those families to make their own decisions. During this time, Jiyu did not idle around. He continuously refined pills and consumed them to raise his level. Now that he was the city lord of Chaoyang Ancient City, he had no lack of gold coins. This was because he had set a rule for the 10 families that he had subdued. One of the rules was that they had to pay him a tax of 10% every month. Furthermore, all kinds of complicated matters were still handed over to the old city lord, Jiang Zhongtian. Jiyu only needed to hold the title of city lord. Ding! Congratulations, master! Your alchemy attainments have successfully broken through to become an inferior 5th stage alchemist. Ding! Congratulations, master! Your cultivation base has successfully broken through to the peak of the 2nd level of the Tongxian realm. In just 7 days, more than 90% of the forces in Chaoyang Ancient City had chosen to join the Castellan Mansion. Not only that, but Jiyu had also been refining medicinal pills to raise her cultivation base in the past 7 days. She had even become a grade 5 alchemist, and her cultivation base had also risen from the early stage of the Tongxian realm to the peak of the 2nd level of the Tongxian realm. The city lord's mansion's influence grew rapidly, and the entire Choyang ancient city's lifelines were connected together. The Chen family and the Lin family were also included in that group. Now that the Chen family and the Lin family had lost their patriarchs, they were in desperate need of a new leader. Although it was the new city lord, Jiyu, who had killed their patriarchs, they had no other choice but to join the new city lord. Moreover, in their opinion, if Jiyu had really wanted to do something to them, they would not have been alive until today. Taking a risk out of desperation might be a chance for survival. As for Jiyu, he did not have any feelings for the Chun family and the Lin family. Previously, he had killed Chen Yan's bodyguards, Chen Wuheng, Lin Zhanshan, and Lin Qitian. His enemies were all dead as well. Other than Chen Yan, who was still hiding in the Kanglan Empire Academy, he basically had no more enemies in the Chun family and the Lin family. However, Ji would still pay close attention to these two families. Once he found out that there were any disloyal people, he would kill them. As for the remaining 10% of forces that had yet to make a decision, Ji did not plan to care about them for the time being. As long as they were obedient, Ji did not care. However, if they dared to cause trouble, Ji would suppress them with absolute strength. Currently, Ji had more or less unified Chaoyang ancient city. Next, he planned to return to the Qianyuan martial mansion. He still remembered that Mansion Master Morong had said that he would be bestowed with the title of Sky Pride when he returned. Chapter 229. After informing Jiang Zhongtian, Ji brought Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin back to the Qianyuan martial house. Along the way, his cultivation base reached the peak of the second stage of the Tongshan realm. Ji, you're finally back. Morong Zili walked down from the high platform in the violet gold hall. Yes, our matter is settled. We'll still have to trouble you with Yuechu and Yuexin. Ji said, It's fine. Morong Zili said, It's time for me to fulfill my promise to you. From today onwards, you're prodigy. In the entire Kanglan Empire, you're the only one who can have this title. Kanglan Empire? Why was it related to the Kanglan Empire? Ji was puzzled when he suddenly remembered what the title of prodigy meant. In the Kanglan Empire, only the most talented and powerful prodigies under the age of 20 could call themselves prodigies. Once they called themselves prodigies, they would be challenged by many prodigies of the same generation until everyone was convinced. The last person who dared to call himself a prodigy was already 28 years old. In other words, it had been 8 years since anyone dared to call themselves a prodigy in the Kanglan Empire. Morong family head's actions today could be considered as Ji calling himself a prodigy. Once the news spread, countless prodigies would be unconvinced and he would face enemies from all sides. However, to Ji, it didn't matter. With his current strength, he could easily crush all the prodigies of the same generation in the Kanglan Empire. Also, according to the agreement, you can enjoy half of the cultivation resources in the martial house. Morong Zili continued. For example, you can choose any secret scripture in the scripture pavilion without using any credits. Also, you can take half of the alchemy materials in the alchemy hall for free, and half of the other resources are yours. Thank you for your kindness, Ji said gratefully. No need to be so courteous. Morong Zili's expression was still cold. This palace master only hopes that you can use your full strength to defeat the Kanglan Empire Academy and Qingxian sect in the upcoming 3-sect tournament. This palace master believes that with your strength, you can definitely do it. Ji nodded slightly. The 3-sect tournament was held once every 3 years. He had heard of it, but he didn't pay much attention to it. It seemed that it would be held in half a month's time. At that time, the young generation of the Kanglan Empire Academy, Qingxian sect, and Qianyuan martial house would exchange pointers with each other. In the end, the rankings of the 3 great martial cultivation holy lands would be decided. For example, in the last 3-sect competition, the Kanglan Empire ranked first, the Qingxian sect ranked second, and the Qianyuan martial house ranked last. At this time, Morong Zili suddenly added, At that time, Qinyan will definitely be there. Ji could tell that Clan Master Morong wanted him to participate in the 3-sect tournament. No matter what, since Chunyin would be there, then he would definitely take Chunyan's dog life. Rest assured, Palace Master, I will do it, Ji said confidently. Not to mention other things, just the fact that he was at the peak of the second stage of the Tongxian realm was enough to show disdain for all the geniuses in the Kanglan Empire. Morong Zili nodded slightly. She didn't have the slightest doubt that Ji Yu could show disdain for all the heroes in the three-sect tournament. Then I'll go back first. Ji Yu turned to Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin and said, You Chu, you Xian, follow the Palace Master and cultivate well. Okay. Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin nodded. They also wanted to participate in the three-sect tournament with Ji Yu, so they had to quickly increase their strength. Ji Yu was very relieved to hand them over to Murong Manor Master. This was because under Murong Manor Master's guidance, their cultivation had indeed increased very quickly. Their talents weren't weak, and with Clan Master Murong's help, their cultivation speed was very fast. Ji Yu could see that Jiang Yuechu's cultivation had already reached the fourth stage of the defensive profound realm. As for Jiang Yuexin, even though she was a little more interesting, she had also broken through to the third stage of the defensive profound realm not long ago. However, compared to him, this cultivation speed was nothing. But in the entire Qianyuan martial house, it was already more than 99% of the students. Before Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin cultivated with Clan Master Murong, one was only at the second stage of the defensive profound realm, while the other had just touched the first stage of the defensive profound realm. Chapter 230. Once the news of Ji Yu being crowned as the prodigy of heaven spread, all the famous martial arts geniuses in the Kanglan Empire were dissatisfied with Ji Yu. Since Jiang Zhongtian had ordered a lockdown on the news in Chaoyang Ancient City, Ji Yu's current strength wasn't spread outside of Chaoyang Ancient City. As for Ji Yu's performance in the Qianyuan martial house, it wasn't widely known. Only the Imperial Palace, the Alchemist Guild, the Myriad Treasure Pavilion, the Azure Water Imperial Academy, the Qingxian sect, and other major forces knew about it. The Kanglan Empire's impression of Ji Yu's strength was still stuck at the time when he defeated Chunyin, who possessed the acquired spiritual body. From their point of view, it had only been 2 months since then. No matter how talented Ji Yu was, it was impossible for him to soar so high in 2 months, right? Ji Yu had also heard that many people were dissatisfied and said that they would come to the Qianyuan martial house to ask him for advice. However, he couldn't be bothered with these people. He would rather lie down and sleep if he had the time. Even if Ji Yu's current strength was enough to crush all the other geniuses of the same generation, he didn't want to relax. He had never taken those so-called geniuses of the same generation seriously. He only had one purpose in participating in the three-sex tournament, and that was to kill Chunyin. When the time came, most of the experts in the Kanglan Empire Academy would be present. It would be extremely difficult for him to kill Chunyin under the eyes of those experts. After all, Chunyin had awakened the acquired spiritual body. The people in the Kanglan Empire Academy would definitely protect Chunyin. His current purpose of increasing his strength was to kill Chunyin faster and more accurately, and to protect himself. The cultivation of the experts in the Kanglan Empire Academy was only higher than Ji Yu's, especially the dean of the Kanglan Empire Academy. It was said that he had reached the 9th level of the Tongxian realm and was not far from the Spirit Profound realm. The three-sex tournament would begin in about half a month's time. Half a month's time was neither short nor long. Therefore, Ji Yu had to make the best use of her time to raise her strength. It would be best if she could reach the 4th level of the Mystic Comprehending stage before the three-sex Grand Tournament. In that case, he wouldn't need to be afraid, even if he were to face the dean of the Kanglan Empire Academy. Ji Yu was the first to arrive at the Alchemy Hall. His main goal now was to increase his cultivation level. He should first raise his cultivation to LV4 Tongxian realm before thinking about anything else. Therefore, he had to bring back a pile of alchemy materials. Ji Yu's current alchemist level had already reached the lower 5th grade. Logically speaking, she should be able to refine all pills below the lower 5th grade because of the 999 times success rate. Then, he obtained a large pile of alchemy materials from Zhuang Mingyan. They were all alchemy materials for level 3 and 4 pills. With so many alchemy materials, it was more than enough for Ji to refine for several days. If he were to refine all of them into pills and consume them, breaking through to the 4th tier of the Tongxian realm shouldn't be a problem. However, before Ji left, Elder Zhuang suddenly called out to her. Ji, I'm planning to leave the martial palace soon. Are you sure you don't want to take over my position? Elder Zhuang calmly said to Ji, with your alchemy skills, no one in the martial palace is more suitable than you to take over this position. He could feel that Ji might have already surpassed him in alchemy. She was an alchemy prodigy that was unprecedented in the entire Kanglan Empire. As long as she was willing, she could even oust him from his position as the Grand Elder of the Alchemy Hall. Compared to handing it over to another alchemy elder, he hoped that Ji could take over the position of the Grand Elder of the Alchemy Hall. Unfortunately, Ji didn't seem to be very willing. I'm sorry, I can't accept it at the moment. Ji remained silent for a moment before replying calmly. How could he take over the position of the Grand Elder of the Alchemy Hall when he was busy preparing for the 3-sex tournament? Moreover, he was now the city governor of Chaoyang Ancient City. Although it was just a title, he still had to pay attention to the situation in Chaoyang Ancient City. If he became the Grand Elder of the Qianyuan Martial House, he would be extremely busy. Not to mention paying attention to the situation in Chaoyang Ancient City, he might not even have enough time to cultivate. No matter what, he couldn't accept the position of the Grand Elder of the Alchemy Hall. All right, Zhuang Mingyan sighed his heart. It's all up to you. I won't force you. If you change your mind, I'll pass the position to you at any time. He could only continue to stay in the martial palace. The position of the Grand Elder of the Alchemy Hall couldn't be passed to anyone else. He would wait and see for the time being, hoping that Ji would change her mind. At that time, he would be able to find out the truth behind his clan's destruction. Chapter 231. If I change my mind, I will come and look for you. However, this was just Ji's excuse. Okay, you can go back now. Zhuang Mingyan nodded and said, I hope so, in his heart. Of course, he could tell that Ji was just being polite to him. After that, Ji put all the ingredients into her storage ring and left the alchemy hall. She quickly walked back to her dorm and prepared to start refining the pills. Ding! Master has taken one step. Low-grade Earth rank mystic skill lightning luster change gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken one step. Low-grade Earth rank mystic skill lightning luster change gained experience. 1 by 999 times. After returning to her dorm, Ji immediately took out the alchemy furnace and ingredients from her storage ring. Ding! It has been detected that Master has started refining Tier 3 pills. The success rate has increased to 999 times. It wasn't until the next day that Ji finished refining all the ingredients for the Tier 3 pills. Ding! Master has refined Tier 3 pills. Alchemy attainment gained experience. 600 by 999 times. Ding! Master has refined Tier 3 pills. Alchemy attainment gained experience. 800 by 999 times. After refining all the Tier 3 pills, Ji prepared to go out for a walk to relax. She had been concentrating on refining pills for a long time, so it was inevitable that she would feel tired after a long time. If she didn't go out to relax, her efficiency would slowly decrease. That would be a waste of time. At the same time, a group of uninvited guests arrived at the Qianyuan Martial House. At the entrance of the Qianyuan Martial House, a group of young people wearing the Kanglan Empire Academy uniform walked in. The leader was an old man in an instructor's uniform. He said to the group behind him, the 3-sex tournament is about to begin. We're going to visit the Qianyuan Martial House, as usual. Don't ruin the reputation of the Kanglan Empire Academy, especially those who want to learn from Ji. Yes. The students of the Kanglan Empire Academy replied in unison. One of them, a young man with a cold and arrogant face, said to the old man, Please rest assured, great teacher. Someone like Gu dares to proclaim himself a prodigy? Gao Junjie, will make him regret it. Senior Gao's strength is outstanding. He is definitely invincible in the Qianyuan martial house. That's right. Even that so-called top student, Gu, is definitely not a match for Senior Gao. Isn't that nonsense? In the entire younger generation of the Kanglan Empire, other than Senior Gao, who else can reach defensive profound realm level 8 and above? The students of the Kanglan Empire Academy behind him kept on flattering him. It's fine as long as you have the confidence. The old man nodded with satisfaction. Gao Junjie was the #1 prodigy of the Kanglan Empire Academy. He was also the other one who possessed the acquired spiritual body in the Kanglan Empire Academy. At the age of 19, he had already reached the peak of defensive profound realm level 8. With the terrifying cultivation speed of the acquired spiritual body, it was very likely that he would break through to defensive profound realm level 9 before the 3-Sex Grand Tournament. He was the prodigy that the Kanglan Empire Academy had high hopes for. He would definitely defeat all the other prodigies of the same generation in the 3-Sex Grand Tournament and bring the Kanglan Empire Academy to the top once again. As for Gu, it was rumored that she had become the top student of the Qianyuan martial house, which sounded very interesting. However, in terms of strength, he believed that Gu was definitely not a match for Gao Junjie. All right. Gao Junjie's eyes flashed with a trace of pride, but he still pretended to be calm. Let's go in and meet those guys from the Qianyuan martial house. After that, the group of people walked towards the entrance of the Qianyuan martial house arrogantly, not at all having the attitude of a guest. The guard of the Qianyuan martial house was an inner palace student. At first glance, he thought that these people were here to cause trouble, but after taking a closer look, he realized that they were actually people from the Kanglan Empire Academy. He remembered that the elder had told him that the 3-Sex Grand Tournament was about to start, and the Kanglan Empire Academy would send their prodigies to visit. If he saw anyone from the Kanglan Empire Academy, he had to receive them properly. Although these people's attitude made him feel a little uncomfortable, he could only follow the elder's order and politely welcome them. Are you all from the Kanglan Empire Academy? He asked politely with a smile on his face. Are you blind? Can't you see that we are all wearing the uniform of the Kanglan Empire Academy? However, Gao Junjie didn't give him any face at all, and his words made him feel very uncomfortable. Yes, I am blind. However, that person could only smile and didn't dare to do anything. This was because he could feel that this cold and arrogant youth in front of him was much stronger than him. Moreover, he didn't dare to disobey the elder's order, so he could only force himself to endure the displeasure in his heart. You know what's good for you. Seeing that this person's attitude was good, Gao Junjie didn't want to continue making things difficult for him. Chapter 232. Let's go. Following Gao Junjie's order, everyone from the Kanglan Empire Academy walked into the Qianyuan martial house one after another. All of them were so arrogant that they didn't take the gatekeeper seriously at all. The gatekeeper could only watch with a gloomy face as this group of rude people barged into the Qianyuan martial house. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. He took out a pot of wine from his storage ring and drank to his heart's content. After drinking the entire pot of wine in one go, he felt a little better. He looked at the people from the Kanglan Empire Academy with blurred eyes. He hoped that Gu could teach this group of arrogant people a lesson. All right, Instructor Liu, I heard that my brother Chun Yin was defeated by Gu before. Walking in the Qianyuan martial house, Gao Junjie suddenly thought of something and asked the old man. When he was in the Kanglan Empire Academy, Chun Yin had also awakened his acquired spiritual body like him and was accepted as a disciple by the dean. His relationship with Chun Yin could be said to be that of a martial brother. In private, they were very close friends. However, whenever he mentioned Gu, Chun Yin would keep his mouth shut and his expression would not look good. Therefore, he was more and more curious about this matter. What exactly did Gu do back then to cause Chun Yin to become like that? Shouldn't people with acquired spiritual bodies be geniuses who ruled over an era? That matter isn't really a secret anymore. Instructor Liu said in a deep voice. Before Chunyan entered the Kanglan Empire Academy, he was defeated by Ji in 3 punches. Although he deliberately suppressed the news, many people knew about it. Instructor Liu was also a grand instructor in the Kanglan Empire Academy. His position was above all the other instructors and was almost the same as the Grand Elder of the Qianyuan Martial House. I see. Gao Junjin nodded with interest and said, Then I want to meet Ji even more. I want to see how strong that guy is. I'm very confident in your strength. I'm just afraid that Ji won't dare to fight with you. Instructor Liu said, If he doesn't come out, I will turn the entire Qianyuan Martial House upside down. Gao Junjie smiled sinisterly. I also heard that there's a woman called Qi Ling, or who's quite pretty. Let's see if we can get her. Do whatever you want, but don't go overboard. Instructor Liu reminded him. Instructor Liu, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Gao Junjie said, The most important thing is to teach Ji a lesson and avenge my brother. The brother he was referring to was naturally Chunyan. At the same time, the surrounding students of the Qianyuan Martial House were attracted by the commotion. They naturally recognized that these people were from the Kanglan Empire Academy, but they were curious as to why they were here. Even though he said that he was here to visit, only a 3-year-old would say such words. That aggressive appearance clearly showed that he was here to pick a fight. When the group from the Kanglan Empire Academy arrived at the center of the plaza, there were already quite a few Martial House students gathered around them. Although they often bumped into each other, these people from the Kanglan Empire Academy were clearly looking for trouble. In the face of an unfriendly enemy, they could not help but unite against a common enemy. At this moment, the first elder of the Qianyuan Martial House arrived. Elder Zheng, it's been a while. Instructor Liu, it's been a while since we last met. Your cultivation has improved again. Instructor Liu from the Kanglan Empire Academy and Elder Zheng from the Qianyuan Martial House started to shake as soon as they met. The students from the Kanglan Empire Academy and the Qianyuan Martial House looked at each other with hostility. There was a faint smell of gunpowder, as if a fight would break out at any time. Only Gao Junjie remained cold and arrogant. He was not interested in these rookies from the Qianyuan Martial House. This time, he only wanted to see 2 people, Ji and Qi Ling. The 3-set grand competition is around the corner. Please forgive me for not being able to receive all of you in advance when you visit this time. Elder Zheng said politely. Elder Zheng, you're too kind. Instructor Liu laughed and said, This time, I've brought along some of the more outstanding geniuses from our academy. I'd like to spar with them as an appetizer before the 3-set competition. While Instructor Liu was speaking, Gao Junjie walked out from behind Instructor Liu and looked at Elder Zheng with an arrogant expression. As an acquired spiritual body, he had always been like this. He never put anyone in his eyes and never cared about etiquette. So it's Nephew Gao. I've heard a lot about you. You're indeed a talent. Elder Zheng said amiably. However, his eyes suddenly changed in the next moment. However, compared to our first seed Ji, you're still a little lacking. Oh, Gao Junjie's face turned cold. Chapter 233. Elder Zheng, do you mean that I'm not as good as Ji? Gao Junjie questioned. Junjie, watch your tone. Instructor Liu scolded in a low voice. However, he was just pretending. That's what I mean. Elder Zheng narrowed his eyes and said, Since the other party didn't want to give face to the Qianyuan Martial House, there was no need for him to continue pretending. He might as well shed all pretense of cordiality. Since you said that I'm not as good as him, let him come out and meet me. Gao Junjie didn't want to be outdone and said, Originally, he came here for Ji. Now that he could lure Ji out, he was even happier. He's not here now, Elder Zheng said lightly. He's not here, Gao Junjie said with an evil smile. Since he's not here, let Qi Ling accompany me first. What is this guy trying to do? Why did he ask Qi Ling to come out? Does he have evil intentions toward her? That must be it. This bastard is not a good person at first glance. Damn it. This guy from the Kanglan Empire Academy is too arrogant. How dare he have evil intentions towards Senior Qi Ling? How could the students not understand Gao Junjia's intention? They were all filled with righteous indignation. In their hearts, Qi Ling was a beauty that they could only look at from afar. Although they knew that they couldn't get her, they didn't want to see an outsider having evil intentions toward Qi Ling. However, none of the students in the martial house dared to stand out. What else can you do other than being arrogant over there? A bunch of useless people, Gao Junjia said with a disdainful smile. The people from the Kanglan Empire Academy were very proud of themselves. They all looked at the students in the martial house arrogantly. Many of the students in the martial house were angry, but none of them dared to stand out and face Gao Junjia. This was because they knew that they couldn't defeat Gao Junjia. In the entire martial house, only Ji Yu could defeat this guy. However, Ji Yu was not here now, so they were all very sullen. At this moment, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin happened to pass by. What happened here? Why are there so many people gathered here? Jiang Yuexin walked over curiously. Jiang Yuechu also came over. When she saw Gao Junjia and his group, she more or less understood what had happened here. It was obvious that the other party was wearing the uniform of the Kanglan Empire Academy, and there was no trace of goodwill on their faces. It was easy to guess that these people were here to cause trouble. Yuexin, the situation here is not good. Let's go inform Ji Yu first. Jiang Yuechu said to her sister. Oh, at this time, although Jiang Yuexin didn't understand the situation here, she still listened to her sister. Wait, that pair of sisters over there. Stop right there. However, Gao Junjia had his eyes on them. Gao Junjia had to admit that this pair of sisters were very pretty. In the Kanglan Empire Academy, he had never seen anyone who could compare with this pair of sisters. Gao Junjia's interest in Qi Ling was greatly reduced. After all, he had been attracted by Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin before he saw Qi Ling's appearance with his own eyes. Jiang Yuechu frowned slightly when she heard this. She turned around and asked, "What's the matter?" "There's nothing else. Before Ji Yu comes out, you two sisters can play with me for a while," Gao Junjia said with a smile. In fact, this was a very normal smile of Gao Junjia. But in the eyes of the other students of the Qianyuan martial house, it was extremely wretched. This was especially true for Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin. When they heard the other party's words and saw the smile on his face, they immediately felt a sense of disgust. Jiang Yuechu wanted to say something, but a flash of lightning flashed in front of her eyes. Her beautiful eyes narrowed slightly, and she saw a figure suddenly appear in front of Gao Junjia. The figure was dressed in white, with a slender figure and delicate facial features. There was a trace of unique temperament in her plain appearance. This person was Ji Yu. "Someone like you dares to have designs on my woman?" Ji Yu looked at Gao Junjia coldly and said lightly. Chapter 234. Ji Yu just came out to take a walk. She happened to see that this place was full of people, so she came to take a look. She found that there was actually a guy who was interested in Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin. Now that he was engaged to Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, it was equivalent to his women being lusted after. How could he tolerate this? He directly used the Thunder Luster transformation and rushed over. Ding! Master used the Thunder Luster transformation. Thunder Luster transformation gained experience, 600 by 999 times. Ji Yu arrived in front of Gao Junjia in an instant. Gao Junjia was almost shocked. "Who are you?" Facing this guy of unknown origin, Gao Junjia finally restrained himself a little. "Isn't the person you're looking for me?" Ji Yu said indifferently. At the same time, the surrounding people cheered. "That's Ji Yu. Chief Ji Yu is finally here. Chief Ji, hurry up and teach that bastard a lesson. Let them know that the Qianyuan martial house is not to be trifled with." Seeing Ji Yu appear, all the surrounding students were excited. Previously, they were very unhappy in their hearts. They were eager to see Ji Yu beat up Gao Junjia. So, you're GU, the self-proclaimed genius. You just SOSO. Gao Junjie narrowed his eyes and said sarcastically, after hiding for so long, you're finally willing to come out? However, what he cared about the most was that GU just said that the two sisters were his women. If he could crush GU in front of the two sisters, it would definitely be a wonderful feeling. Thinking of this, Gao Junjie's mouth raised into a smile. Gao Junjie was about to introduce himself and challenge GU, but he was interrupted by GU. Wait, you don't deserve to let me know your name. GU said, it's not too late to say it after you can withstand my sword. His calm tone was mixed with a trace of contempt. He had no interest in knowing the other party's name because he didn't put this guy in his eyes at all. A mere ant. Why would he need to know the name of an ant? As soon as he said this, everyone from the Kanglan Empire Academy was stunned. What kind of operation is this? They had never seen anyone who could say such arrogant words. You're saying I'm not worthy? Let's see if your strength is as tough as your mouth. Gao Junjie's face also darkened. As soon as he finished speaking, he moved. However, Ji was even faster than Gao Junjie. She had already unsheathed Cold Edge. Ding! Master has performed Breeze Sword Style. Breeze Sword Style gained experience. 200*999x. His sword was like a gentle breeze brushing the willows, smooth yet sharp. Gao Junjie had just moved when Jiu's sword had already landed on his body. Gao Junjie couldn't react in time, but he was still the #1 genius of the Kanglan Empire Academy. His ability to adapt was extraordinary. He subconsciously performed a defensive mystic skill and used his treasured sword to block in front of him. It was almost like a conditioned reflex. However, this breeze sword style broke through his defensive mystic skill as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. His treasured sword also had a small crack. Looking at that unstoppable sword, Gao Junjie's eyes were filled with fear and despair. I'll die. I'll really die from this sword. Instructor Liu realized that the situation wasn't good. When Gao Junjie was in danger, he immediately rushed up to stop the sparring. Kid, it's just a sparring match. Why did you have to be so ruthless? Instructor Liu looked at Jiu with a serious gaze. He was actually shocked. What kind of monster was this? Gao Junjie, who was at the peak of the 8th level of the defensive mystic realm, couldn't even block a single strike from this kid. Even if he had underestimated his opponent, he shouldn't have been so weak. I'm ruthless. Jiu laughed disdainfully. You think too highly of that trash. I didn't even use 10% of my strength. 10%. Instructor Liu was stunned. This kid actually said that he didn't even use 10% of his strength. He only used 10% of his strength to crush Gao Junjie. What kind of level was this kid's true cultivation? First level of the Tongxian realm? Second level of the Tongxian realm? Third level of the Tongxian realm? Instructor Liu didn't dare to continue guessing. He was already doubting his life. Gao Junjie knelt on the ground powerlessly. His eyes were unfocused, and his heart had completely collapsed. He, who had always been high and mighty, was actually defeated by someone who only used 10% of his strength. He didn't even have the chance to fight back. Not only that, but everyone in the Kanglan Empire Academy was also extremely shocked. Fear filled their hearts. The other party had defeated Senior Gao, whom they thought to be invincible, with just a casual swing of the sword, without even using 10% of his strength. This Jiu could no longer be described as a monster. Chapter 235. Even the people from a martial house were shocked. They knew that Jiu was very strong, but the strength that Jiu had just displayed was far beyond their understanding. However, they quickly put this aside and began to mock the people from the Kanglan Empire Academy. Hey, weren't you guys so cocky just now? Why aren't you saying anything now? You can't even take a single hit, yet you dare to be so arrogant in front of Jiu? Haha, look at that coward. Is this the #1 genius of the Kanglan Empire Academy? The students from the Kanglan Empire Academy were all red in the face. This time, it was their turn to feel uncomfortable. How could they have expected such an outcome? The moment that youth named Gu appeared, the entire situation was instantly reversed. In the end, you're just an ant. Ants don't have the qualifications for me to remember your name. Looking at Gao, Jun, Jia kneeling on the ground, Gu said indifferently. The clear breeze sword style just now was at most 10% of his full strength. Gao Junjia couldn't even withstand 10% of his power. If the old man from the Capital Institute hadn't intervened, Gao Junjia would have been dead. If this wasn't an ant, then what was? However, Gao Junjia didn't react at all. It was as if he couldn't hear anyone. Let's go. Instructor Lu's expression was quite ugly as he said to the people behind him. In this situation, how could they still have the face to continue staying here? They didn't want to stay here for a moment longer. They just wanted to leave immediately. Only Gao Junjia was still kneeling on the ground in a daze. Instructor Lu came over and dragged him away. Seeing the people from the Kanglan Empire Academy leave in such a sorry state, all the students from the Martial House immediately cheered. At this moment, all of them were full of admiration and reverence for Gu. It was all thanks to Gu that they could hold their heads high. Jiang Yuechu had a happy smile on her face. Jiang Yuexin's face was slightly red because they knew that Gu was helping them vent their anger. Gu, you came just in time. Elder Zheng smiled and said to Gu, if it weren't for you, those guys would definitely be cocky. It's nothing, Gu said modestly. In fact, he was more annoyed that the guy just now had a bad idea about Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin. Helping the people of the Qianyuan Martial House to vent their anger was just a side benefit. Just now he was really angry. However, in order to hide his true strength, he only used 10% of his strength. Of course, even if that guy didn't do anything to Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, he would teach that guy a lesson for the Qianyuan Martial House. I'm sure that for a long time after today, no one from the Kanglan Empire Academy will dare to come here again. Elder Zheng stroked his beard and said in a good mood. Gu's sword strike must have left a deep shadow in Gao Junjia's heart. However, after that, what happened in the Qianyuan Martial House today didn't spread. One of the reasons was that Master Murong forbade the students of the Martial House to spread the news. The other reason was that those from the Kanglan Empire Academy didn't have the face to spread the news. Therefore, the outside world still didn't know about Gu's true strength. There were still many martial arts geniuses from all over the Kanglan Empire who wanted to challenge Gu at the Qianyuan Martial House. However, Gu didn't respond at all. In his eyes, they were just a bunch of weaklings. He didn't want to waste his time with a bunch of weaklings. As for those so-called martial arts geniuses, they didn't dare to come to the Qianyuan Martial House before Gu responded. Because of this, the outside world started to talk about it. Many people thought that Gu didn't dare to accept the challenge from her peers, so she hid in the Qianyuan Martial House and didn't say anything. For a while, Gu was called a coward. Many people in the Kanglan Empire used this as an excuse to make fun of her. After all, Gu suddenly called herself a sky pride and didn't respond to anyone's challenge. Everyone thought that Gu was avoiding the challenge. Only the people from the Kanglan Empire Academy and the Qingxian sect didn't say anything. The number one genius of the Kanglan Empire Academy was defeated by Gu. What else could they say? As for the Qingxian sect, although they didn't know the truth, they guessed something from the strange situation in the Kanglan Empire Academy. Therefore, they didn't interfere. This time, it was a battle between the Qianyuan Martial House and the Kanglan Empire Academy. The Qingxian sect just didn't want to be involved. Qianyuan Martial House, student dormitory. 5 days had passed, and there were only 10 days left before the three sects' grand competition. Gu didn't care what the outside world thought of him. He didn't even know what the outside world thought of him. He stayed in his dormitory and focused on making pills. Ding! Master has made a lower tier 4 pill. Alchemy attainment, gained experience. 1500 by 999 times. Ding! Master has made a superior tier 4 pill. Alchemy attainment, gained experience. 2500 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Alchemy attainment has successfully broken through to intermediate tier 5 alchemist. In the past few days, he had finished making all the tier 4 pills. Chapter 236. Along the way, he became an intermediate grade 5 alchemist and was not too far away from becoming a superior grade 5 alchemist. After that, Jiyu placed all the pills on the table. There were so many pills that it was impossible to count them all. There were probably more than 100 pills. With so many pills, even if he reached peak LV2 Tongxian realm, he would be able to break through a few times. In order to reach LV4 Tongxian realm in one go, Jiyu swallowed all the pills in one go. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has reached early LV3 Tongxian realm. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has reached intermediate LV3 Tongxian realm. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has reached late LV3 Tongxian realm. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has reached peak LV3 Tongxian realm. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your cultivation base has reached peak LV3 Tongxian realm. After swallowing all the pills, his cultivation base had indeed improved tremendously. However, he was so close to breaking through to LV4 Tongxian realm. Ji could only choose to do it step by step. Most of the time, it was impossible to break through by force. Once his cultivation base had settled down for a long time, he would naturally break through. Anyway, as long as he could reach LV4 Tongxian realm before the 3-sex tournament, he was not in a hurry. After that, Ji did not care about his cultivation base. Instead, he focused on his sword technique and sword intent. When he was fighting against Chen Wuheng and Lin Zhanshan, his lone peak of 9 swords and sword intent had played a huge role. However, Ji was not satisfied with just that. The lone peak of 9 swords was stuck at advanced mystic level. Therefore, he had to improve his breeze sword art, which was inferior mystic level. It would be best if he could improve it to earth level. Needless to say, his sword Dao true intent was only at the first stage. Every time he improved it by 10%, the power of his sword intent would increase exponentially. This was his most powerful killing move. Ding! Master has learned breeze sword style. Experience gained from breeze sword style, 200 * 999x. Ding! Master has learned breeze sword style. Experience gained from breeze sword style, 200 * 999x. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your breeze sword technique has successfully broken through to the peak of perfection stage. Ding! It has been detected that the clear wind sword art has reached the perfection stage and has been automatically upgraded to the mid-level sword art, clear cloud sword art. Small success. Mastery through a comprehensive study, perfection, and the peak of perfection. Ji spent more than half a day practicing the clear wind swordsmanship to cross 4 realms and advance it to the clear cloud swordsmanship, which was at the middle level of the profound realm. However, just as he was about to practice the clear cloud sword art, Qi Ling found him. Why is this guy here? Ji couldn't help but feel puzzled when she sensed Qi Ling walking into the forest. Now that his cultivation had reached peak LV3 Tongxian realm, he could easily sense the movements of others around him. Ji turned around and looked at Qi Ling, who was walking toward him from afar. When Qi Ling came closer, he immediately asked, "Are you here for me? I heard about what happened when the Kanglan Empire Academy came to visit a few days ago." Qi Ling's tone sounded normal, but Ji somehow felt that something was wrong. Ji nodded slightly and waited for Qi Ling to continue. "This time, I'm here to thank you for standing up for the Qianyuan martial house." Qi Ling said, "What are you talking about? No matter what, I'm still a member of the Qianyuan martial house," Ji said with a smile. Qi Ling continued, "But other than that, I have one more thing to ask you." "What is it?" Ji asked in confusion. "Well," Qi Ling hesitated for a moment before she asked, "A while ago, my master accepted 2 more disciples. One is called Jiang Yuechu, and the other is called Jiang Yuexin. Is what you said to Gao Junjie true?" "What did I say?" Qi Ling didn't say it clearly, so Ji didn't understand it for a moment. After all, he had said more than one sentence to Gao Junjie. Who knew which sentence Qi Ling was referring to? It's you who said that they are your women. Qi Ling said embarrassedly. Is that true? She had only arrived at the center of the square after Ji Yu had left. After learning about what had happened from Elder Zhang, there was only one thing that she cared about the most. That was, Ji Yu had claimed that Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin were his women. In fact, Qi Ling had already known the two sisters when her master had accepted them as disciples. After all, she only hated men. She was very friendly to the same sex, especially the two sisters who were so cute. However, she had no idea that the two sisters had such a relationship with Ji Yu. Ever since she found out about it, Qi Ling didn't understand why she couldn't sleep and eat well for the past few days. She felt a little anxious in her heart. The only thing she knew was that Ji Yu was the culprit who made her feel like this. Finally, she couldn't hold it in anymore. She came here this time to confirm this matter with Ji Yu. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.